Alrighty. Right off the bat, you're gonna know I can't move my lip. I just had a root canal. So this is either gonna be funny or very, very tragic, or funny and tragic, or funnily tragic. We'll see what happens. Let's get these lights turned off correctly. So, as you guys know, Hillary Clinton had her disposition a little bit ago, and they didn't record it. They wouldn't allow the media to come in. So, recently, they have released said deposition. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop this up into parts, try to see what we can get. We're not going to get, it's a 5-hour long video. We're not going to make it to the end. But the big thing is trying to see if we can find some stuff other people won't find. This just came out about 17 hours ago. Yeah, my tongue, I can't fucking talk really. So this is going to be hilarious or completely an entire sham. And I'm sorry, Hillary Clinton, for being not available to give you my 100%. But hey, shit happens all the time. And yeah, they shouldn't have released it on the day I got a root canal. Let's get it.
We want crystal clear audio and visuals of today's proceedings, so the microphones were removed. We'll take into account tomorrow, and I know many of us are hard hearing, so we want to make sure that everyone speaks loudly and all the questions are clearly understood. We'll do everything we can to accommodate that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Nothing further. We'll begin. Good morning. This is a deposition of former Secretary of State Hillary R. Clinton, conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform under the authority granted to it pursuant to House Rule 10. Accordingly, House Rule 10 grants the committee broad jurisdiction for the committee to conduct investigations of any matter at any time. On July 23, 2025, the Subcommittee on Federal Law Enforcement of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform voted by voice to approve a motion directing the chairman to authorize and issue a subpoena to you for a deposition. On August 5th, 2025, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena for Secretary Clinton to appear today for a deposition in furtherance of the committee's investigation into the actions and investigations of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell. I will enter the original subpoena and corresponding cover letter from August 5, 2025, as well as the additional subpoena from December 15, 2025, determining a new date as Exhibit 1.
Excuse me, counsel. I want
so
to,
hard
for
to-
the record, I want to put in
It's so hard to roll a blunt with a numb mouth.
a sentence from the cover letter to the subpoena, and that's the chairman's own definition of the scope of this investigation. He wrote, and I quote, "It's to conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of sex trafficking laws generally, and specifically its handling of the investigation and prosecution of Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell." Thank you.
As stated in the email correspondence with counsel for Secretary Clinton in negotiations for for the committee and counsel for Secretary Clinton stated, and I quote, "As conveyed to you in a letter from the chairman yesterday morning, personal relationships between the Clintons and Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and the ways in which Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell sought to curb."
Thank you all. Secretary Clinton, before we begin, I would like to go
All right, first, it's important that we know the rules of the deposition, so that's why I went here first. I'm gonna keep scanning that fucking transcript just so we ain't gotta sit here and watch 4 hours of content.
ground rules for this deposition. The questioning will proceed in rounds. The majority will ask questions for an hour, and then the minority will have an opportunity to ask questions for an hour if they choose. To the extent members have questions for the witness, they will be propounded during their side's respective rounds. The clock will stop if you need to confer with counsel, your counsel is speaking, and when members or staff are speaking during the opposing side's round of questions. We will alternate back and forth until there are no more questions. Do you understand?
I do.
There is a court reporter taking down everything I say and everything you say to make a written record of the deposition. For the record to be clear, please wait until the staffer questioning you finishes each question before you begin your answer, and the staffer will wait until you finish your response before proceeding to the next question. Further, to ensure the court reporter can properly record this deposition, please speak clearly, concisely, and slowly. Also, the court reporter cannot record nonverbal answers, such as nodding or shaking your head, So it is important that you answer each question with an audible verbal answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Exhibits may be entered into the record. Majority exhibits will be identified numerically. Minority exhibits will be identified alphabetically. Do you understand?
I do.
We want you to answer our questions in the most complete and truthful manner possible, so we'll take our time. If you have any questions or do not fully understand the question, please let us know. We will attempt to clarify, add context to, or rephrase our questions. If we ask about specific conversations or events in the past and you are unable to recall the exact words or details, you should testify to the substance of those conversations or events, to the best of your recollection. If you recall only a part of a conversation or event, you should give us your best recollection of those events or parts of conversations that you do recall. Do you understand?
I do.
You are required by law to answer questions from Congress truthfully. This also applies to questions posed by congressional staff in this deposition. Do you understand?
I do.
If at any time you knowingly make false statements, you could be subject to criminal prosecution, including but not limited to perjury. Do you understand?
I do.
This includes both.
Committee.
Melissa Bean didn't just talk about helping families, she did the work. Now she's
So I fast forwarded to this part because it started talking about Lex Wexner and his deposition. We didn't watch that, but we can watch that if some people are interested in Lex Wexner's deposition.
for Congress again, bringing experienced families can count on.
In life, growth doesn't happen alone. Family keeps you secure. Coach it.
5 of the 6 former attorneys general were allowed to submit brief statements on January 13th.
Have any other questions before we begin?
Yes, I have an opening statement that I would like to deliver before.
All right, so she's about to make her opening statement. This is I bit the fuck out of myself. Fuck. She's about to answer the fucking question.
Begin. Mr. Chairman, ranking member, members of the committee, as a former United States Senator, I have respect for legislative oversight, and I expect its exercise, as do the American people, to be principled and fearless in pursuit of truth and accountability. As we all know, however, too often congressional investigations are partisan political theater, which is an abdication of duty and an insult to the American people. This committee justified its subpoena to me based on its assumption that I have information regarding the investigations into the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me be as clear as I can. I do not.
What was that picture we looked at when she did her little walkout deposition? What's her name? No, bro, I'm not gonna let you get off the. I'm not letting you get off the hook. Hillary, Chelsea Clinton, Ghislaine. And we're just gonna keep this picture up, probably. Where is it? We're just gonna keep this picture up, bro, because we're not gonna have this. We're not gonna let some lying strag bitch tell us she didn't know a motherfucker, and the motherfucking bitch right there, bro. We not finna let her fucking keep doing that. So anytime she say something about a motherfucker not knowing a motherfucker or some motherfucking shit like that, we just gonna flash over to this shit. We just gonna flash over right to there. Now, who is this nigga? I'm questioning him too. What the fuck you standing there looking like Superman for, bitch ass nigga? You should have been punching this bitch in the face. You knew what she was on a dead army.
I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane
Ghislaine?
or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified by what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to...
Woo! That's what females do, bro. When you text them and be like, yo, I just found some stuff inside of your phone. When you get back, we got to talk. They prepare a statement. So when they walk in the house, they're going to be like, look, before you even get started, a whole bunch of shit to throw you off the scent. You gotta keep digging.
Continue his predatory practices for another decade. Mr. Chairman, your investigation is supposed to be assessing the federal government's handling of the investigations and prosecutions of Epstein and his crimes. You subpoenaed 8 law enforcement officials, all of whom ran the Department of Justice or directed the FBI, when Epstein's crimes were investigated and prosecuted. Of those 8, only 1 appeared before the committee. 5 of the 6 former attorneys general were allowed to submit brief statements stating they had no information to provide. You have held 0 public hearings, refused to allow the media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. You have made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the Epstein files. And when you did, not a single Republican member showed up for Les Wexner's deposition. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official, rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. My heart breaks for the survivors, and I am furious on their behalf. I have spent my life advocating for women and girls. I have worked hard to stop the terrible abuses so many women and girls face here and around the world, including human trafficking, forced labor, domestic violence, and sexual slavery. For too long, these have been largely invisible crimes or not treated as crimes at all. But the survivors are real and they are entitled to justice. In Southeast Asia, I met girls as young as 12 years old who had been forced into prostitution and raped repeatedly. Some were dying of AIDS. In Eastern Europe, I met mothers who told me how they lost their daughters to trafficking and did not know where to turn. In settings around the world, I met survivors trying to rebuild their lives and help rescue others with little support from people in power who too often turned a blind eye and a cold shoulder. If you are new to this issue, let me tell you, Jeffrey Epstein was a heinous individual, but he's far from alone. This is not a one-off tabloid sensation or political scandal. It is a global scourge with an unimaginable human toll.
With this language, you would have thought she was finna be like, look, I sucked a fucking underage girl booby. I did it. And Bill was hitting it from the back. But Trump was there too. With this type of vernacular and the way she coming out with all the shit she's saying and saying like, oh, blah, 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 y'all protecting people, you would have thought she was finna come in there with a t-shirt on with Trump face on it with an underage girl. You would have thought she was finna stand up for the American people. She ain't do shit.
Work combating sex trafficking goes back to my days as First Lady. I worked to pass the first federal legislation against trafficking and was proud that my husband signed the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which increased support for survivors and gave prosecutors better tools for going after traffickers. As Secretary of State, I appointed a former federal prosecutor, Lucy DeBaca, to ramp up our global anti-trafficking efforts. I oversaw nearly 170 anti-trafficking programs in 70 nations and directly pressed foreign leaders to crack down on trafficking networks in their countries. Every year, we published a global report to shine a light on abuses.
Is this really what she about to do?
The findings of those reports triggered sanctions on countries failing to make progress, so they became a powerful diplomatic tool to drive concrete action. I insisted that the United States be included in the report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would also like to request that the video of this deposition be made available within 24 hours, as it has been for other witnesses.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The time reads 11:34 a.m. The majority's time will begin now. Madam Secretary, in the interest of efficiency here today, I'm going to ask you one question followed by a list of names. The question can be answered yes or no. If you do indicate yes to any individual, I will.
So we just watched her claim her innocence. Now they're about to start questioning her. Hopefully we can kind of get into it. We got a 4-hour long video right here. We're not gonna finish it. I'm sorry, guys. I have puzzles in my house that I have not finished. I'm one piece away, and I just don't finish it because I don't want to finish things. I feel like some things are best left undone. I feel like things, when they're undone, are done. It's a fashion statement. My tongue, y'all, it keeps getting trapped into between my teeth. I know this sounds terrible, but just thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it.
Back and revisit that at the end. The question is, have you ever communicated with any of the following people relating to...
I heard Hillary got a gat. Let's see if Hillary got a gat. I want to see. Where is it? Where is it? Nah, bro. I know Hillary Clinton got a get. No, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying. Hillary Clinton got a get. You're lying. Hillary Clinton got a yacht? Who would have known this? I bit my tongue, but it's okay. There's no way Hillary Clinton actually has a yacht. You see this little story right here? We're not going to get into that, but apparently, what's his name made him start bombing the what's his name. Yeah, bro. Hillary Clinton got a get. You're lying. That can't be real. That can't be real. That can't be real. Hillary Clinton got a get. Okay. All right, Clinton. I'll see you, shorty. I fuck with you a little bit harder now.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Richard Kahn.
No.
Darren N. Dyke.
No.
Sarah Kellen.
No.
Doug Band.
Not that I recall.
Wait. Should we take
Maxwell. Richard Kahn.
No.
We should probably You know how white people spell stuff. All right, so we're going to put these names down and just try to keep track of this shit.
Darren N. Dyke.
Darren N. Dyke. How do you spell? They said Darren and Dyke. Hopefully Darren ain't with a Dyke. I think that's how it would be spelled.
No.
Sarah Kellen.
Sarah Kellen and Doug Band.
No.
Doug Band.
Not that I recall.
Kicking up the dirt as I pull out my skirt. When I walk by, they all on alert. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you could be first. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Jaywalk. Jaywalk.
Gay.
Michelob Ultra Zero. Zero alcohol.
Lawrence Summers.
No.
Huma Abedin.
Have I ever talked to her about this in preparation for this hearing? I have.
Outside of that,
Not that I recall.
Noam Chomsky.
No.
Leslie Groff.
No.
Nadia Marcinkova.
No.
John Luke Brunel.
No. I don't know most of these people. Should I tell you that I don't know who they are, or just tell you I never talked to them?
Just so you never talked to him,
Okay.
it's fine. Alan Dershowitz.
No.
Kathy Rumler.
No.
Bill Richardson.
No.
George Mitchell.
No.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew.
No.
Peter Mandelson.
No.
Reed Hoffman.
No.
Karina Shuliak.
No.
That's his fake girlfriend.
Bill Gates.
No.
Ehud Barak.
No.
Woody Allen.
No.
Sandy Berger.
No.
Jess Staley.
No.
Paul Morris.
No.
Leon Black.
No.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayam.
No.
Leslie Wexner.
No.
Jack Kessler.
No.
Mark Middleton.
No.
Harvey Weinstein.
No.
Ellie de Rothschild.
No.
Ariane de Rothschild.
No.
Lynn Forrester de Rothschild.
No.
Any other members of the de Rothschild family?
No.
Glenn Dubin.
No.
Eva Anderson Dubin.
No.
Casey Wasserman.
No.
Larry Visoki.
No.
David Rogers.
No.
Ira Magaziner.
No.
Daniel Gilbert.
No.
Karen Ewing.
No.
Stacy Plaskett.
Not that I recall.
Howard Lutnick.
No, not that I recall.
Steve Bannon.
I don't know if I've ever met him. You all have to introduce me.
I take that as a no.
Just to be absolutely clear, you've asked if I've ever communicated about Jeffrey Epstein, a man I never met, with any of these people, most of whom I've never heard of and certainly not met. That's the premise of your question.
Mr. Epstein or Mrs. Maxwell.
You did
All
not
right.
say that.
I did say that.
So we got a bunch of names. What I'm thinking about doing with these names is we're gonna go into Gmail. My time. We're gonna go into Gmail and run these names and just see if we can find anything cool. But we're going back to that.
Or repeat the question.
No, that's okay, but I didn't talk about her with any of these people either. I
Understood.
barely knew her.
David Gergen,
No.
Elon Musk,
No.
Abigail Johnson,
No.
Jeff Bezos,
No.
Larry Page,
No.
Sergey Brin,
No.
Louis Freeh,
No.
a new member arrived. Would they please introduce themselves for the record?
Wesley Bell, Congressional, Missouri First Congressional District.
Thank you, sir.
Can I intercede? Could you read back the initial premise of your question? Because I too did not hear.
Yes, ma'am. Have you ever
Yeah, that nigga just got
communicated
to
with
read
any of the
names.
following people relating to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
I didn't hear the Maxwell piece, but we could ask her. It doesn't matter. It's the same answer, but I did not hear the Maxwell name in there.
Understood.
So was the last name you said Larry Page?
Sergey Brin.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and background play. So you
The last name I stated was Louis Freeh. You indicated no, is that correct?
I think
Free.
you need free.
Free, yes, ma'am.
Louis
No.
Free.
No.
And Sarah Kay.
No. And these are all, to the best of my recollection, as I say, many of these people I've never heard of. Most of these people I've never had a relationship with, although I know their name. Some of them are deceased. But I was not communicating about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Understood. And you say that you knew Miss Maxwell casually. What does that mean?
Just what I said. I knew her primarily as someone who dated someone that I knew,
And who was that individual?
Ted Waite.
And
I feel like that's going to be an important relationship.
this Ted Waite.
Ted Waite was a successful, as I recall, software developer.
And roughly when would the first time Miss Maxwell would have come up in relation to Mr. Waite?
I don't recall, but, perhaps sometime around 2010.
This shit's gonna hurt.
Because he was invited to my daughter's wedding, and she was his guest.
That's how he ended up at the wedding, was through Ted Waite. This picture right here, her plus one, she was a plus one. She was a plus one through a nigga named Ted Waite. Now, I don't know if she was fucking Ted while she was fucking Epstein, but she was fucking somebody. Throwing that little, hey, she bad. In a weird pedophile way.
Have you ever spoken with Miss Maxwell personally yourself?
I'm sure I have, yes.
Did you estimate on how many occasions?
Not many. I didn't see her very often.
You know what?
When would the first occasion have been?
I have no recollection.
Now it's a 2 hour.
Did your first interaction with Miss Maxwell occur while President Clinton was President of the United States and you were First Lady of the United States?
No, I do not recall ever meeting her while Bill was still in the White House.
So they met after she left the White House.
Did Mr. Waite ever inform you what Miss Maxwell did for a living?
Not that I recall.
Did anyone ever indicate to you what Miss Maxwell did for a living?
Not that I recall.
When would the last time have been that you either communicated with Ms. Maxwell, even if not directly yourself, but been around Ms. Maxwell?
The best of my recollection is at the wedding in 2010.
Ironic. The only time we got proof is the only time you could say that y'all was together.
Would you consider Ms. Maxwell a friend?
No,
Would you consider her a friend of President Clinton?
he'll have to answer that.
Was
Would
he
you
a
consider Ms.
friend
Maxwell
of
a friend of your
Bill?
daughter?
She probably was friendlier with her than I was because I didn't see her very often.
How often would your daughter have seen Ms. Maxwell?
I have no idea. But again, it was in the context of her being in a relationship with Ted Waite.
Anyone else in your family have a relationship of some kind with Ms. Maxwell?
That's my family. You asked about Bill and Chelsea.
Probably should slow it down. That's a little too fast. He going so
Just to make
slow.
clear for the record, have you ever met Jeffrey Epstein?
I do not recall ever meeting Jeffrey Epstein. In preparation for this hearing, I was told that he attended an event at the White House that put on by the White House Historical Association, but I have no recollection of that.
And only that one time at the White House Historical Association?
That's the only time that I'm aware of that I might have possibly been in the same room with him.
Do you have an initial impression of Mr. Epstein?
I have no recollection of Mr. Epstein. I just told that he was in a room at a dinner that we were hosting for the White House Historical Association.
What was your understanding of what Mr. Epstein did for work?
I knew nothing about him. He was there as an invited guest by the White House Historical Association. That's my best recollection.
And no one else informed you of what Mr. Epstein did for work?
No, but we had hundreds and thousands of people who came to the White House. I was not informed of what people did or didn't do for work, especially someone that I never even had a conversation with.
Do you know who invited Mr. Epstein to the White House?
I can only tell you what I know, which is that he apparently was a guest invited by the White House Historical Association to attend a dinner to thank people who gave money to the White House Historical Association for the upkeep and maintenance of the White House. That's what I was informed of in preparation for coming here.
Yes, ma'am. And understanding we focused the last few questions on your time in the White House with President Clinton. After that time period of President Clinton's administration, did anyone ever tell you what Mr. Epstein did for a living?
I don't recall ever talking about Mr. Epstein. He was not on my radar. He was not somebody that I had any connection to.
When President Clinton was traveling with Mr. Epstein on Clinton Foundation business, no one associated with the foundation at that time discussed Mr. Epstein with you?
Not that I recall. I was not involved with the foundation. I was a senator from New York, and I was deeply committed to my work, and it became one of the most intense experiences of my life when we were attacked on 9/11. I was not involved with what was happening to create the foundation, to create the work that was done to get low-cost drugs for AIDS. I knew about the work. I didn't know about the details.
Understood. And to be clear, you never had any communication yourself with Mr. Epstein, whether that be face-to-face interaction, phone calls, emails, text
Asked and
messages?
answered. You can answer again.
I have no recollection in any way of ever having any conversation at the White House or in any other place or on any kind of device of any sort. I knew nothing about him.
And when did you learn of Mr. Epstein's 2006 indictment and subsequent arrest leading to his incarceration in 2008?
I have no idea. I was not paying attention. I was running for re-election in 2006. I ran for president in 2007, 2008. I don't know that I ever learned about it until much later when more things came out about him.
Understood. And when did you first learn of Mr. Epstein's arrest in 2019?
Probably when it happened because it was headline news. I'm sure I, like everybody else, saw it in the press.
And in seeing that in the press, did you discuss Mr. Epstein or his case at the time with anyone?
I'm sure we did because it was a big story.
And Mr. Epstein died in custody following his 2019 arrest. When would you have learned of his death?
Whenever it was reported.
Going back slightly a question, you said you likely would have talked to someone regarding his arrest in 2019. Who would you have discussed that with?
Whoever was around. I mean, it was a big story, as you recall. It was a very big story. I don't have any specific recollections. It wasn't something that I was particularly focused on, but it was a big story.
And going back to Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, when did you learn of her arrest in 2021?
Again, whenever it was reported as happening.
And did you discuss that with anyone?
I'm sure I did. It was another big story.
And who would those discussions have been with?
I don't have any specific recollection.
So moving forward in time just a little bit, you were Secretary of State under President Obama, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And it was during his first term, 2009 to 2013?
That's correct.
And after you completed your time as Secretary of State, did you return in any role to the Clinton Foundation?
I did. I became active in it at that point.
And by being active in it, could you describe that for us, please?
I tried to support the work that Bill and my daughter and the team had done, and look for ways to be helpful. It was something that I wanted to make sure I could support.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. You rejoined as a board member, is that right?
It might have been the first time I was a board member. I don't remember. Either the first or the second time. Yeah.
And speaking of, it sounds like you were heavily involved when you returned to the foundation, or I guess started with the foundation at this point. In trying to accomplish those goals and initiatives, what were you doing, broadly speaking, on a daily basis, monthly basis, that sort of thing?
Well, I wanted to start a program about early learning for kids, and so we started something called Too Small to Fail, which I was very actively involved in with my daughter, and we worked with pediatricians and other people to help parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles read, talk, and sing to their children so that they could help build brain cells. That was a major priority of mine, and I'm very proud of what we've built and the difference that it's made in millions of kids' lives. I certainly did what I could to support the work that we do overseas through the Clinton Global Initiative, which has had a terrific track record of bringing people together to work in partnerships to make commitments to try to improve everything from clean water to solar energy to improved education, all of the priorities that the partners we have bring to us that we try to help them with.
And thank you for that, Madam Secretary. We've had a few members join us. Would you guys please announce yourselves for the record?
Yes, Pat Fallon, 4th District of Texas. Scott Perry, 10th District of Pennsylvania.
Thank you both.
You're the last person.
Mr. Perry, Scott Perry.
With delicious rewards, you earn points for doing what you
dry
love.
as hell.
Digging into your Culver's favorites. Yum! Earn 10 points for every $1 you spend.
And Madam Secretary, as a board member, what type of responsibilities does that entail?
Attending the board meetings, approving the agenda of work for the year, the budget that goes with it.
In creating CGI?
I'm not going to speculate. Without. Okay.
And on page 263, Ms. Maxwell tells Mr. Blanche that she had a role in shaping CGI. You said you were not aware of Ms. Maxwell having any role in shaping CGI.
I was not involved in the creation of CGI. Again, I was in the United States Senate. I was not involved in the work that was done to set up CGI.
No one discussed the formation of CGI with you?
That it was going to be set up, but I don't have any specific recollection of having any specific knowledge of it, no.
Did Mr. Epstein help craft the idea or formulation of CGI?
I don't have any idea. I don't know anything about that.
Is it possible that Ms. Maxwell had a role in creating CGI?
I'm not going to speculate. I'm here to tell you what I know, and I don't know anything about that.
Understood. And is it possible Mr. Epstein had a role in crafting CGI?
I'm not going to speculate about that either because, I have no way of knowing that because I have no direct knowledge.
I will enter now as Majority Exhibit 12. This will be a letter from Mr. Epstein's attorneys. I'll give you a second for it to be passed out. This is a letter dated July 6, 2007. It is from Gerald B. Lefcourt, who's an attorney for Mr. Epstein. He sent this to the prosecutors in the Southern District of Florida. That would be Sloman, Minchell, Lori, and Villafania. And I will direct your attention to page 21. At that top paragraph on page 21, it says, quote, Mr. Epstein was part of the original group that conceived the Clinton Global Initiative, which is described as a project bringing together a community of global leaders to devise and implement innovative solutions to some of the world's most pressing challenges. Again, is it possible that Mr. Epstein played a role in crafting CGI?
I have no idea what he did or what he said he did, and I have no way to testify to the veracity of either. I was not involved.
Have you seen this document before?
No.
The Clinton Foundation accepts donations as part of carrying out its work. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And when seeking, let me take a step back, people charitably provide donations to the foundation?
It's a 501c3, yes.
And do you or anyone else at the foundation ever solicit donations for the foundation?
I'm sure that happens. People talk to us, we talk to people, they ask questions about the work that's being done, and I'm sure that happened in the years before I was involved.
Did you solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein for the foundation?
I had no contact with Jeffrey Epstein. I did not solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein.
Also,
Did you solicit any funds for the foundation from Ms. Maxwell?
I did not. Again, we're talking about the creation.
Wait a second. This is a big deal. Even stop the background music. This is alleging that the Clinton Foundation was a Epstein-funded organization. And when he asked a little bit earlier what she did with the Clinton Foundation and how she was a board member with the Clinton Foundation, and they were saying like, oh, what did you do with them? What do you do? Oh, you go to different places and talk to different women about sex trafficking. And you help them get help. But the whole time, the guy who's asking this deposition is alluding to the fact that while going to these places and telling them about sex crimes, she was being sponsored by a sex crime dude.
The foundation, I was not involved in the creation of the foundation or the creation of CGI. In those early years, I was incredibly focused on my job in the Senate. Bill was focused on setting up the foundation and starting CGI.
And understanding you were occupied with your career as a senator and then your presidential campaign leading up to 2008, but at this time, were you discussing starting the CGI with President Clinton?
I'm going to object to any communications between the two of them. You can ask generally, but that's covered by the marital communications privilege.
Understood. So, generally speaking.
I am sure that I talked to my husband about what he was doing to set up the foundation. It was more on the substance of the work. How many drugs was he getting made in India? What was the idea that was going to motivate CGI to be what he wanted it to be? It was not in the weeds. It was the concept. It was the excitement that he had about trying to establish the foundation and CGI.
And similar question for Mr. Band. Did you discuss the creation of CGI with Mr. Band?
I may have, because he was around. He worked for my husband. He was a personal aide to my husband, but I don't have any recollections of any specific conversations.
Broadly speaking, at any time, do you recall any discussions related to distancing the foundation or CGI from Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell?
I don't recall any conversations. I know that sometime, maybe 2003 or so, Bill did not have any ongoing contact with Epstein. And in preparation for this hearing, it became clear to him that Epstein was not interested in the charitable work that was motivating Bill as he traveled around the world, getting people to commit to providing low-cost drugs for not just HIV/AIDS, but eventually tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases.
And what is your understanding of Mr. Epstein no longer wanting to participate in the foundation's philanthropic goals?
I don't. Only in preparation for this have I been told that there was no real interest there, and there was no point in being involved or connected to him.
And we touched on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said you're not aware of Mr. Epstein donating to the foundation. Would you consider? Let me back up. President Clinton took trips on Mr. Epstein's jet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you consider offering a private jet as a donation in kind to the foundation?
Well, I don't know what the rules are under the 501c3 regulations, but it was certainly a gift, and he was, one of a number of people who provided transportation so that Bill could do the work he was doing.
So not only was you niggas taking money from the nigga Epstein, he was y'all Uber too? He was taking y'all to the places y'all was going to talk to the bitches about sex trafficking while he was a sex trafficker? Look at the look on her face, bro. That tell me everything I need to know. I'm so happy we sped forward.
I think we touched on this.
My mouth hurts so fucking.
Did Mr. Epstein end up donating to the foundation or CGI?
I have no personal knowledge of that.
You're not aware of a $25,000 donation from Mr. Epstein's affiliated companies to the foundation?
Only what I was told was alleged in preparation for this testimony. I did not know about that, and I don't know that it's true.
Are you aware of the Clinton Foundation reviewing any records in regard to Mr. Epstein donating to the foundation?
I will have to ask our lawyers. I did not.
Have you had any conversations about the foundation reviewing those donations made by Mr. Epstein?
I think I'll have to ask our lawyers. I don't know. I didn't review them.
Understood. Ms. Mace, do you have some questions?
I did. Thank you for being here this afternoon. In your opening remarks, you mentioned this is political theater and partisan. Do you believe the Epstein files are a vast right-wing conspiracy?
I think if they are fully released as the transparent.
So the way depositions work is you don't have to ask things like you can ask like, oh, did you have sex last night? Like you don't have to ask anything that's relevant to like a case. You could literally sit there and waste their time for 8 hours. Honestly, you could literally sit there and ask them, all right, well, if the sky was blue yesterday, then what color will it be tomorrow? And then the day after that. And then the day after that. You could literally just sit there and just bullshit the whole time.
Act requires, that would be fulfilling the responsibility of the Justice Department, but it appears that there have been many issues with the full release, so I'm not going to characterize it other than to say I think that's a well-known fact.
Are you aware that both Republicans and Democrats voted to subpoena you and your husband?
I am here.
Okay. Are you aware both Republicans and Democrats voted to hold you in contempt when you didn't show up?
I am here.
Is that partisan when both parties vote to do something together? Is that partisan or nonpartisan?
I think it's standing up for the institution, but there are many other aspects of the committee's work that strikes me as avoiding the main issues about who should be sitting here, who has actual information that might be useful to your investigation.
As a survivor, I'm a survivor. I appreciated your opening statement and your prioritizing some of these issues. Have you always believed this way? Have you believed this way for some time?
Have I what?
Have you believed what you believed in your opening statement for some time?
Yes, I have.
How long have you had those beliefs or held those beliefs in your opening statement?
Very long.
In 1998, you had those same beliefs?
Yes.
2005?
Yes.
2008?
Yes.
2012?
Sure.
2016? 2020? 2024 to present day, you've held these beliefs the whole time?
Yes, I have.
Have you always believed that women abused by powerful men should be believed?
I know where you're going with this, and I have nothing to say about anything in the past. I'm here to answer questions about this investigation.
Oh, I think I see what's going on. So she asked her, do you normally agree with all women? And she says, yes. And then she says, well, what about back in 1998? And she starts listing years. This was 1998. Let's look at her reaction to Bill saying that Monica Lewinsky didn't get sex trafficked or what's the word for it? Sexually taken advantage of in a quid pro quo relationship. Let's see what she has to say about it.
Thank you.
I am very pleased to introduce America's true education president and the greatest champion of working parents and working families that the United States of America has ever known, President Bill Clinton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, son. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please be seated. Now, I have to go back to work on my State of the Union speech. And I worked on it till pretty late last night. But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
She clapping, walking out. She ain't believe that lady. She ain't believe that lady. Yeah, bro. All right, so yeah, we saw where she was going with what she was saying. You don't believe all women, and you definitely are not backing up all women, because when it was time for you to back up a woman who said that Bill Clinton quid pro quo sexual harassed her, what you do? You were standing behind his ass clapping like a crazy bit. Can you hear this? All right, I turn the background music back on.
By Epstein and Epstein's circle of associates should be believed.
I think that many of them have made very credible accusations.
Have you always thought that? Do you think that women abused by powerful men should get justice?
I think that they should have their time to be evaluated, and where there is adequate evidence, they should certainly get justice, and perpetrators should be held to
The
account.
question was, have you always thought that women abused by powerful men should get justice?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. Are you aware that, you were aware, I think you said this earlier, that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 for procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute, correct?
That's what the charges were, yes.
And you were aware of that in 2008?
I don't recall that I was aware then.
And in 2008, you were a U.S. Senator still?
I was.
Would you say that Jeffrey Epstein is one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
From what we know, he certainly engaged in his predatory activities for a long period of time.
Would you say he's one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
I don't know what to compare it to. There are terrible sex trafficking rings all over the world.
And you said you were Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013? Mm-hmm. And you state your agency prioritized combating sex trafficking internationally, correct?
That's correct.
During your time as Secretary of State, did you or the state receive any intelligence cables or briefings mentioning Epstein's foreign travel, pedophile island, or his network of pedophiles and sex trafficking?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
How did you miss it? If he's, I believe, one of the most prolific sex traffickers in the world.
That's what I was just about
you
to
were Secretary of
ask.
State. How did you miss it?
Well, that would have been a matter of the Justice Department, not the State Department.
But in your opening statement, and your statements earlier, in your opening statement, you stated that Secretary Rubio should be called to testify. And you said that he has, and the administration has, quote, abandoned survivors. Using the same logic, you were Secretary of State during a time period after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of being a pedophile and soliciting children for sex. Why then did you, quote, using your own logic, abandon survivors?
What is the question, please?
All right, let's rewind that. She just
I
hung her.
followed her,
She really
comment.
just ate
First
her
of all,
fucking asshole. She really just put her tongue in her.
Engaged in his predatory activities for a long...
Listen to this sequence of questioning again. She broke her down with this one.
That's what the charges were, yes.
And you were aware of that in
I'm
2008?
about to put it back on
I don't
regular
recall that I was
playback
aware then.
speed.
And in 2008, you were a U.S. Senator still?
I was.
Would you say that Jeffrey Epstein is one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
From what we know, he certainly engaged in his predatory activities for a long period of time.
Would you say he's one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
I don't know what to compare it to. There are terrible sex trafficking rings all over the world.
And you said you were Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013?
Mm-hmm.
And you state your agency prioritized combating sex trafficking internationally, correct?
That's correct.
During your time as Secretary of State, did you or the state receive any intelligence cables or briefings mentioning Epstein's foreign travel?
So her job, quote, literally the fuck unquote, was to catch sex traffickers. That's her job. This bitch not only took 25 bands from a sex trafficker, this bitch be on a bitch ass nigga plane flying from place to place. So the lady asked her, yo, your job was to catch sex traffickers. How did you not see Epstein? And that's a very good fucking line of questioning. I like this lady, whoever just came inside here and was talking all this crazy shit. First, she attacked that bipartisan shit. Bitch, this is a bipartisan issue. This is not just Republican. This is not just Democrat. All y'all niggas is nasty. She attacked that shit, and then she instantly went and attacked the fact that this bitch said she worked for the Sex Trafficking Safety Organization, and she was taking money from a sex trafficker and getting money to go places, and getting rides to places for her sex trafficking organization to combat sex trafficking. She was taking rides from a sex trafficker. Them are great fucking
Pedophile
questions.
Island or his network of pedophiles and sex trafficking?
Not that I am aware of, no.
How did you miss it? If he's, I believe, one of the most prolific sex traffickers in the world, you were Secretary of State. How did you miss it?
Well, that would have been a matter of the Justice Department, not the State Department.
But in your opening statement, and your statements earlier, in your opening statement, you stated that Secretary Rubio should be called to testify. And you said that he has, and the administration has, quote, abandoned survivors. Using the same logic, you were Secretary of State during a time period after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of being a pedophile and soliciting children for sex, why then did you, quote, using your own logic, abandon survivors?
What is the question, please?
I followed her comment. First of all, we focused on whether there were laws that made sex trafficking, sexual slavery, domestic violence, other abuses of women on the books in countries. And then we tried to evaluate, were those laws being implemented? And were judges appropriately trained and briefed about how to implement those laws? Were governments taking them seriously? We looked at the broad institutional approach to these very serious abuses.
Would you say the U.S. government at that time, during this time period, was appropriate with the way that it handled Epstein?
I don't think that you could say that was true about any of the government's prosecutorial efforts, starting with the Southern District of Florida and Alex Acosta and all those who basically gave him a sweetheart deal. And then I think going up the chain, there was very little attention paid that should have been paid. But we had laws on the books, they were not being implemented. But that was not within my purview, because what we were looking at is what's the institutional structure, and can we do more to make sure countries take it seriously? Our country had laws on the books.
So
this man was not held to account.
If it was not in your purview when you were Secretary of State, then why is it today in Secretary Rubio's purview?
Because what's happened is that the
Cook her, bro. Okay, so you said in the beginning of your disposition that everybody needs to be fucking held accountable because of the stuff that was going on under their nose, and they showed no fucking care towards what was going on. They acted like nothing was happening, and now the lady's coming back to her and she's saying, well, what about you? You acted like nothing happened also. You didn't know, and you were the head of the sex trafficking thingy, and you was taking money, and you was riding in his jet.
Office that was actually following what was going on around the world has been decimated. 70% of the staff is gone. It's impossible to carry out the functions of that office if you don't have a critical number of people. So my question would be to Secretary Rubio, is there more that can be done?
I'm running out of time here. You were clothed with immense power as Secretary of State. You've stated on the record in your opening statement that child sex trafficking in general, human trafficking of all kinds is a priority. You were clothed with immense power. Your husband was clothed with immense power. And until you got this subpoena and until these files were out in the open, you did nothing to try to effectuate all of these things you say that should have been done. Is that correct?
No, it's totally incorrect. I mean, all of your assumptions are ones that I reject.
When you saw photos of your husband in a hot tub laying on a beach and getting massaged by other women, and you knew that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in some of these trips and these things, did it concern you at all?
I'm here not to offer my opinions. I'm here to answer specific questions to the best of my ability.
When you saw your husband in these photos with a young woman being massaged, what went through your mind?
I am not going to speculate.
You didn't have any feelings about
How was that speculation?
young women massaging your husband?
I am not going to offer opinions or speculation about anything that I have no context for and was not there.
After you learned that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of sex crimes with kids, did any of these photos of your husband with women being massaged on the beach, did it concern you?
I have no context for even answering that question. And I think, obviously the innuendo, all the rest of it.
I'm asking a black and white question. I'm not putting any leading statements into it or adjectives. Did you do anything to determine what was happening in those images or on those trips that once you saw these photos, once you realized Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender of children, did you do anything to determine what was happening on these trips with your husband?
I don't find any of your questions to be relevant to the investigation.
Well, it is relevant if a former president was traveling around with young women.
Well, you'll have a chance to talk to him tomorrow.
You said this morning you did not solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Did anyone solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein on your behalf?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever invite Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to any of your political fundraisers?
I did not personally invite them to my political fundraisers.
Did anyone personally invite them on your behalf?
I do not know.
Is the purpose of a political fundraiser to solicit funds?
You would know that it is.
Okay, and you stated this morning you've never communicated with a Sarah Kay, correct?
I do not know who Sarah Kay is.
Okay, she is a councilwoman from New Rochelle, which is about how many miles from here?
Not very far away.
20 to 25?
I have no idea.
I have an exhibit I would like to enter. This is an email dated September 30th, 2014. Am I allowed to enter an exhibit?
Yes, ma'am. This will be Exhibit 13, I believe. Majority Exhibit 13.
Okay, it's from September 30th, 2014.
Can you please provide the witness with a copy?
Okay. You have a copy of it?
Yeah.
You guys have it?
They getting into the weeds. You say you don't know this Sarah Kay person. You say Jeffrey Epstein wasn't giving you money. You didn't know if he was giving you
And
money.
can
Who
you
is Sarah
read me
Kay?
the
You don't know
subject
Sarah
line
Kay?
of the
Okay, so
email?
bad. Let's look at this email.
Following up, event with Hillary Clinton and Congresswoman Lowy.
Do you know who Congresswoman Lowy is?
She was our congresswoman here for many years.
And who is the email from?
Someone named Sarah Kay.
Above that, at the very, you have that very top one. Okay. All right, from Sarah Kay, and it's redacted on who was sent to. Can you read me the email?
Okay, thank you very much for the prompt reply. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for the invitation, but unfortunately, Jeffrey will not be able to attend. Thanks so much for speaking with me just now. Attached, please find the invitation and response card for the event we spoke about with Hillary Clinton and Congresswoman Lowy at the Harvard Club. That was a fundraiser, I believe, for Congresswoman Lowy that I attended to support her, is my recollection.
Okay. And this is an email, this is an invitation to the fundraiser where you were there.
Do you have any idea if the Epstein referred to is the Jeffrey Epstein? There's a lot of people named Epstein in this area.
This is in the DOJ files.
I have no knowledge of it.
It says Mr. and Mrs. Epstein.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of this.
Okay, so it could be a different Jeffrey Epstein.
You're showing me an email from someone who I don't recall knowing about a fundraiser that wasn't for me but was for Congresswoman Lowy. I have no information.
Okay.
I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was... It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Whoa.
Yeah, well,
I would like to take a break at this
Yeah.
moment.
Whoa.
I'm done
Hold on. What's
for now.
on my camera?
Go off the
Camera's
record.
out.
Go off the record.
My camera's gone. We've lost the camera.
We'll
Oh,
go
there
back
it is.
on the record.
So apparently, yeah,
The
we heard
majority's
about
time
this.
Had approximately 5
We
minutes
had
left
heard
in
about
it. I
this.
believe that the
Hold
witness
on.
or her counsel would like to make a quick statement.
Delete.
Thank you so
Give me a
much.
sec.
You've just used the break
We heard about
because
this.
we learned.
Somebody was recording this lady. Somebody posted a picture of her inside of her little two-piece suit. They said we need to see this drip. They said the Guyat looking extra Guyat. Let's go back to the Guyat. Woo-wee! She said, hey, look, I like the red. I like the blue suit. I like the blue suit, young lady. And the Guyat is Guyatting. So what we gonna do here is we gonna post a picture. That's what she
During the
said.
process of these hearings, that the committee was violating its own rules in members tweeting and sharing pictures of what is going on inside this closed hearing, the hearing that we have asked repeatedly to be open to the public. Chairman Comer was gracious enough to engage with me on this matter. We asked specifically to invite the press in, since the committee had already made decisions on its own unilaterally to release
let's fast
pictures
forward
and other
this.
things that are going on in this room. He indicated that he wanted to speak to himself directly. I'd like to just say for the record, we find it unacceptable, we find it unprofessional, and we find it unfair. We are looking forward to this being
Shut up.
conducted under the rules and being conducted consistent with expectations of how members of Congress, I know, take this matter so seriously and do it in that vein. We would also like to just indicate as a practical reality that we are here in good faith. We are counting on the good faith of all the members.
Thank you. Chairman Comer.
Yeah, I'd like to state for the record, I'd advise my members that no photos or videos during the deposition can be released. I understand the posted photo was taken before the deposition started. We will, that will not happen again, and we will look forward to continue with the deposition.
I'd like to make just a clarification there, Mr. Chairman. It was taken in this room after the witness sat down. It is not a basis that because she had not started speaking that it would be appropriate for there to have been a release of anything that was occurring in this room.
And we have made clear that that's not allowed. And I will also say we were disappointed that the Secretary's opening statement was leaked to the press before she even gave her opening statement.
So the Secretary's statement was not leaked to the press. It was provided, as with other witnesses, including Mr. Wexler, who provided his before giving. Hers was given simultaneously.
Okay, bet.
And so what
So
we don't
now we
want
got
is the Secretary to be
tabs.
treated any differently than other witnesses. That seems to be a consistent pattern, and we would love that pattern not to continue.
We've gone to great lengths to make all the accommodations that you all have requested. So we will, again, the members have been advised that is unacceptable. So
Thank you.
we look forward to continuing the
Thank you
deposition.
very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you addressing it.
Ranking Member Garcia.
Thank you. No, I just want to add it's completely unacceptable that oversight Republicans and its members in this moment.
Shut up.
Before we get to questions, I'd like to take a few minutes and highlight some context that we think is relevant for today's conversation. To be candid with you, it's not clear to us that you have much information to share with this committee that would be relevant to our investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. For example,
Like, share, subscribe, hook it up. You feel me? I'm just gonna be real with you guys for a sec. I want to sit and give people the news in a cooler way, because most people don't watch the news because they think that the news is trying to push things on them, and I just want to push things on you from a hood nigga perspective. I'm from the hood, but I'm reformed, so I come with a different type of zeal and a different type of insight on different types of things, because I've seen both sides. I've seen the police and I've seen the niggas who get arrested. I've been the nigga who's been arrested, and I've been the niggas that call the police on a motherfucker. So like I come from a different type of upbringing. I'm just a different type of individual. So I really want to do this full time, and I can't do that without this love and support of y'all. So I would appreciate, like, share, and subscribe if y'all can. You know what I mean? A lot of people not doing the Hillary Clinton deposition at 10 o'clock with a root canal. Like, I'm out here and I'm trying to get y'all this. I could have waited, but I don't think y'all would have, either way.
I would like to introduce as Minority Exhibit A this excerpt from Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Find your perfect tax expert, whatever your tax situation might be. Hand off your taxes to an expert who gets you with TurboTax Expert Full Service.
Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. A time to start new jobs.
I'll read out loud the relevant excerpt for you. You can see that Ms. Maxwell was asked, quote, "Do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew or had any sort of visit, dealings, or associated with Hillary Clinton?" And Ms. Maxwell said, quote, "I would say no." Ms. Maxwell was asked, quote, "Did you ever see them together?" Ms. Maxwell said, "No." So, there are some events we're aware of where you might have been in the same place as Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell at the same time. We'll ask about those, but we are a little confused about why we're even here. I imagine you might have your own perspective on this. You shared a little bit of that earlier. Is there anything more you'd like to share from your point of view on today's conversation before we get started?
Thank you very much, Counsel. I appreciate your recognition of the context. I do not think I am or could be a significant witness to anything that would affect the work of this committee with respect to the investigation. I understand that that was a decision made to subpoena me, and I thought it would have been more appropriate to treat me in the context in which you have just placed me. That's why I offered a sworn statement outlining my lack of knowledge with respect to either Epstein or Maxwell and the crimes that they committed. But the majority of the committee and then the entire committee determined that they wished to talk with me. And it is still somewhat of a puzzle for me to be here and trying to answer your questions to the best of my ability, because I don't think it's a good use of the committee's time. The matters that are included within the broad scope of the investigation, as described by the chairman, are ones that I take very seriously, and I would personally like to see the committee pay attention to those who have information that could be responsive.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'd like to start our conversation with a few foundational questions so we can get a clear record from the very beginning. And you've covered some of this earlier, but I want to be really clear for the transcript. Before his crimes became public, did you have any knowledge of the sexual abuse that Jeffrey Epstein was committing against girls and young women?
No.
Before her crimes became public, did you have any knowledge of the sexual abuse that Ghislaine Maxwell was committing and facilitating against girls and young women?
No.
Our colleagues have suggested that they need to speak with you because Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew worked for your 2008 presidential campaign and then at the State Department when you were Secretary of State. That is somebody named Alexander Derossi. Are you familiar with Alexander Derossi?
I am. Alex Derossi volunteered for my 2008 presidential campaign. I did not know him. I don't know what motivated him to be a volunteer, but he proved to be a very effective contributor to the campaign. He earned a paid position on the campaign. All of my staff that interacted with him on the campaign had a very high regard for his intelligence and his skills. He's an extremely well-educated young man. And when I became Secretary of State, he was recommended for a job that he was well-suited for. I had absolutely no idea that he was in any way related to Ghislaine Maxwell until I received the subpoena from this committee suggesting that he was, and that was the first I knew of it.
So, is it fair to say that as far as you know, Mr. Derossi was not hired for your campaign or at the State Department because he was Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew?
That is absolutely fair to say, and I can't speak for everyone in my campaign. Obviously, it's a huge...
Whoa. Did you just hear what the fuck they just said? Apparently there was an individual on her campaign that was the nephew to Ghislaine Maxwell that was working in her campaign. Let's listen to it again, bro.
Well-educated young man.
At the State Department when you were Secretary of State, with a few foundational questions so we can get a clear record from the very beginning. And you've covered some of this earlier, but I want to be really clear for the transcript. Before his crimes became public, did you have any knowledge of the sexual abuse that Jeffrey Epstein was committing against girls and young women?
No.
Before her crimes became public, did you have any knowledge of the sexual abuse that Ghislaine Maxwell was committing and facilitating against girls and young women?
No.
Our colleagues have suggested that they need to speak with you because Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew worked for your 2008 presidential campaign and then at the State Department when you were Secretary of State. That is somebody named Alexander Derossi. Are you familiar with Alexander Derossi?
I am. Alex Derossi volunteered for my 2008 presidential campaign. I did not know him. I don't know what motivated him to be a volunteer, but he proved to be a very effective contributor to the campaign. He earned a paid position on the campaign. All of my staff that interacted with him on the campaign had a very high regard for his intelligence and his skills. He's an extremely well-educated young man. And when I became Secretary of State, he was recommended for a job that he was well-suited for. I had absolutely no idea that he was in any way related to Ghislaine Maxwell until I received the subpoena from this committee suggesting that he was, and that was the first I knew of it.
So, is it fair to say that as far as you know, Mr. Derossi was not hired for your campaign or at the State Department because he was Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew?
And he worked for the State Department?
That is absolutely fair to say, and I can't speak for everyone in my campaign. Obviously, it's a huge enterprise, but I would be surprised if anyone knew that he was related to Ghislaine Maxwell, but I can absolutely testify to the fact that I did not.
Are there any other accusations or claims that have been made against you with respect to Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell that you would like to address before we move into some chronological questions?
Well, I don't keep up with all the conspiracy theories and the crazy allegations that populate the internet, so I'm sure there are, but I will do my best to answer your questions as you pose them.
Okay, I will ask a series of chronological questions. I know most of these are from a long time ago. If you don't recall, just tell me you don't recall.
Slow down with vanilla milk chocolate almond.
Okay, so we'll just do a quick go back, and I might be missing some things, but the most important things that I've seen so far inside of this video is the fact that she opened up her statement saying that she took up for women, and then the lady came in and said you don't take up for women because in 1998 you were siding with Bill saying that Monica Lewinsky was just blah 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 blah. Next, we figured out that this motherfucker then took money from the nigga. She took money from Epstein, $25,000. That's a lot of bread. I need 25K right now. Where? Never mind. Either way, Then we figured out Bill Clinton rides on his jet to go to his Clinton Foundation things. And then we figured out that Jeffrey Epstein... No. Then we figured out Ghislaine Maxwell has a nephew named something Girassi. He worked on the campaign for the Clintons, or for Hillary, and he worked inside of the State Department for Hillary.
That's Daz.
We learned a few things.
As an initial matter, would you recall roughly how many events and receptions would you have attended at the White House during your time as First Lady?
Well, I was privileged to be at the White House as First Lady for 8 years, and I have no way of giving you an accurate number, but they would be in the thousands. And they were, one of the great privileges of being in the White House, hosting events, hosting meetings, meeting people, using the rooms of the White House, using the grounds of the White House. So many hundreds, maybe thousands of events, but many, many thousands of people.
I was just going to ask if you could estimate how many people you might have met at those hundreds or thousands of events and receptions.
Well, Counsel, I can't say I met every person who ever attended an event, and so I can't really give you an accurate number. But if the event was a small event, perhaps I would meet everyone. But for most of the large events that we hosted, it was hit or miss if I met somebody or didn't meet somebody. For the huge Christmas receptions, which were thousands of people that would come to enjoy the holiday decorations at the White House. So I can't really give you a totally clear answer other than I did my best to greet people and to be an appropriate hostess because I took seriously my responsibilities as First Lady.
So Mr. Epstein visited the White House a fair amount during your husband's first term in office. One, and I think the only specific event that we're aware of where you may have been present was, as you mentioned earlier, a September 29th, 1993 reception for donors to a White House renovation project that was funded through the White House Historical Association. And our understanding is there was some kind of reception that night. Do you have any recollection of attending that event or that reception?
I have no specific recollection, but I know that I was expected to, and I assume I did. But I can't, sitting here today, describe anything specific about that event, but I was very anxious to support fundraising that went to the White House Historical Association that in turn supported the upkeep and the maintenance of the White House, because certainly, it was an old building with a lot of very valuable furniture and art, and it took a lot of wear and tear because I just finished explaining we had thousands of people who would come through, and I'm not even talking about the visitors who would come through, because that was many, many more thousands. So the house itself needed to be carefully cared for, and so my husband and I hosted the event, and the White House Historical Association brought those who had contributed because it was ultimately beneficial for the White House.
Would it be correct to say that sitting here, you have no specific memory or recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell at that event in 1993?
That is an accurate statement. In fact, when I got the subpoena, I was incredulous because I never thought I was in the same room with Jeffrey Epstein. And it was brought to my attention that he was very likely to have attended the White House Historical Association, but I have no independent recollection of that.
Okay. It has been publicly reported that Mr. Epstein visited the White House 16 other times during your husband's first term. He was signed in by different staff members and visited different parts of the White House. Broadly speaking, do you have any memory or knowledge of any other visits by Jeffrey Epstein to the White House other than the one we just discussed?
Not that I recall, but I want to be clear. It doesn't mean that, I didn't pass somebody in the hallway, that somebody didn't pop in, but I have no recollection of meeting with him, seeing him, conversing with him in the White House.
I'm going to fast forward all the way to 1999. We believe that Mr. Epstein contributed $20,000 to your joint fundraising account with the Democratic Party. Would you have any specific memory, knowledge, or recollection of that particular contribution sitting here today?
I do not. And again, this was something that I learned about in preparation for testifying. And as you point out, Counsel, the contribution went to the joint committee that was set up to support my Senate campaign. And my memory is that we couldn't coordinate between joint committees and campaigns. I mean, those were the rules back in the day as I recall them. So I don't have any recollection at all that I knew he contributed to my campaign. And he did not contribute, as far as I know, directly. But then this indirect contribution to the joint committee, I don't recall that I knew it at the time. And I was, surprised to learn it in preparation for testifying.
So at this point, toward the end of your husband's presidency, how would you characterize your relationships at that point with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell?
Non-existent.
Thank you. Moving to the period after your husband's presidency, again, we don't really have much of a record to work off of. There is public reporting that sometime in 2007, Ms. Maxwell may have co-hosted a fundraiser for your presidential campaign in New York City. We don't know much about it. Christina Aguilera may have performed, if that's helpful. Do you have any specific recollection of that event?
I do not, but I, again, have been told and reminded that there was an event with a very large host committee for my campaign, and Christina did appear, and I believe performed. I have no further information than that. I was attending many fundraising events, and I don't recall any specific encounter or conversation with anyone, including Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ms. Maxwell also appears to have donated $2,300 to your presidential campaign that year. Do you have any memory or knowledge of that specific contribution?
I do not.
Would it be fair to say that your presidential campaign likely would have had a fair number of donors donating $2,300 thereabouts?
Oh, many thousands. I don't recall the exact number, but my best memory is that we raised nearly $1 billion. And so it was a fast, frenetic pace. And I'm grateful for everyone who contributed, obviously, but I have no specific recollection of her contribution.
With YouTube Music Premium, listen to your favorite songs ad-free.
So, not only did she get money from Epstein, but she got money from Ghislaine. She got $20K from Epstein. She got $2,300 from Ghislaine.
It's been widely reported, and we, I think, discussed in the previous hour, that in July of 2010, Ms. Maxwell attended your daughter's wedding in Rhinebeck, New York, and that she may have accompanied Ted Waite, who was reportedly a family friend, or at least was at the time. You, of course, were also present at the wedding. Do you have any recollection of Ms. Maxwell's attendance at the wedding?
I have no specific recollection. Obviously, there's a picture of her being at the wedding as my husband walks my daughter down the aisle. She was there as a guest of Ted Waite, someone we had known for 30 years, I believe, who was a strong supporter of my husband and became a friend. And there were more than 500 people at the wedding. So other than that picture of her at the wedding, I have no recollection of talking with her. I was pretty focused on my daughter and the wedding party and the wonderful occasion that it was. So I don't recall having any conversation other than the fact she was there, and she was there as Ted Waite's guest.
And the understanding that you had, if any, about her relationship with Mr. Waite, what was your understanding of that, if you had one?
That they must have been dating. And this was, of course, long before certainly I knew anything about the activities that she was charged with engaging in and the crimes that she was convicted of.
During her interview last year with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Ms. Maxwell said that she may have met you on a flight from Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard to New York. That's not a lot to go on, and I would note that one of the charges Ms. Maxwell faced was perjury. But do you recall ever meeting Ms. Maxwell on a flight from Massachusetts to New York?
I don't recall it. I'm not going to say it didn't happen, but I don't recall it. And my memory, too, counsel, you would have to check this, but I believe I was told that in her long interview with Todd Blanche, it's Todd Blanche, right? Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, she herself said that she attended the wedding as Ted Waite's guest.
In that same interview, Ms. Maxwell said that she visited your home in Chappaqua a few times and that she was invited. Do you have any memory or knowledge of Ms. Maxwell being invited to and visiting your home?
I do not, and I was not present for any visit if one occurred.
It's been reported that in September of 2013, at a Clinton Global Initiative conference in New York, Ms. Maxwell was recognized as a Commitment to Action partner for her work on behalf of the Terra Mar Project, which was an ocean conservation nonprofit that she founded in 2012. Do you have any recollection of whether you were at that event? So that's a Clinton Global Initiative conference in New York in September 2013.
I believe I attended the conference, but during the conference, there are many different sessions going on. There are some main stage sessions with very high-profile people. We've had an extraordinary collection of world leaders, including Pope Francis and others. But then there are many of what are called breakout sessions that are smaller sessions where people gather usually around the issue they're interested in. So in this case, if it had been the oceans, there might have been a breakout session about that. And I do not recall seeing her there. I do not recall any knowledge of her being there. But if she were there and she were making a commitment, it would have been in one of these smaller sessions. And I have to add, in 2013, Ms. Maxwell spoke at the United Nations. She gave a TED Talk. She was featured for her work about oceans in a long profile on CNN. So she had a public persona that the UN, the TED Talk people, CNN, and the press all recognized because nobody at that time knew what was later discovered.
And is it right to say, and it sounds like you would not have had any direct role in organizing whatever her role was at that particular event?
Not that I recall.
At that point in 2013, if you can recall, how would you have characterized your relationships with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell?
Had no relationship, no knowledge of, never met or talked to Jeffrey Epstein. I viewed Ghislaine Maxwell as an acquaintance, someone that I might see, but had no real relationship with.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I know that a couple of the minority members have just a couple questions as part of this hour as well, and so I have a few, and then I'll turn it over to a couple of the minority members as well. You can hear me okay from here?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
But it would help if the minority members would move to where.
I'm actually going to sit right here as soon as I'm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I want to just begin by just asking a few questions, which I believe you've already clarified in your opening statement, but just to be very clear on the record one more time. As best as you can recall, you've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
That's true. That's correct.
As best as you can recall, and I know that, and you said this, you've never went to the island.
Never went to the island.
You never flew with him on a plane.
Never flew with him on a plane.
And you were never aware of his horrific crimes prior to those becoming public knowledge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I also wanted just to note, one of the questions that we've been receiving a lot has been speculation amongst the public that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow affiliated with foreign intelligence agencies or other intelligence services. And I know that we have received numerous questions of that type. Now, obviously, you served as Secretary of State. I'm grateful thank you for your service. In your role as Secretary of State, were you ever made aware of Jeffrey Epstein having any types of relationships with foreign intelligence agencies, obviously, of course, of a foreign country?
I was not. And Ranking Member Garcia, I am aware of the speculation around this that comes from the files being released and questions being raised. And I do think that is a fruitful area for the committee to investigate.
No, I appreciate that, because I'll say of the types of questions that we're receiving, the kind of conversation around whether Jeffrey Epstein had any ties to foreign intelligence or was working with foreign governments continues to come up. And so obviously, as Secretary of State, that would be something I would imagine you may or may not have information for. So I appreciate that response. Madam Secretary, just lastly, I want to also thank you for your testimony. And broadly speaking, you've probably been following just recently, and this week, we've seen, and there's been reports that numerous files are missing from the group of files that have been released. For the record, only about approximately 50% of the total files have likely been released. The other percentage have been withheld for whatever reasons we're not really sure of and don't really understand. It's also been reported by numerous outlets this week that the FBI has removed files that are supposed to be made available to the Congress that include serious allegations of alleged abuse by President Trump, sexual abuse to a minor. Now, these are allegations that we know have been corroborated in other ways, and the media have reported on these, but these files themselves have been removed. Now, we view this as a very serious matter. I've personally looked for these files in the archive manifest that lists which files should be placed there.
Luna, after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, did it concern you at all that you had taken a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein?
That's an inappropriate assumption. I did not take a substantial amount of money from.
Initiative was used in the plea. Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers used Epstein's role in facilitating the Clinton Global Initiative to justify his plea deal. That was entered into evidence earlier. Obviously, Ghislaine Maxwell has alleged that this is part of her, one of her successes to facilitate setting it up, and there's been reports that $1 million was wired for the launch party. So there's just all of this data, all these different pieces of information that come together that cause us to be here. And so, I mean, we've obviously discussed the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was at your daughter's wedding, which, again, is not indicative of anything, but when you take all of this and you put it together and you look at it holistically, it causes us to have these questions. So given all of that information that I just went over, that we've gone over today, do you understand?
All right. So, I mean, from that one, you kind of get the feeling that I don't think Hillary Clinton necessarily was trafficking the children inside of this instance. I feel like Bill didn't want to bring sand to the beach the same way you don't want to bring your girlfriend to the massage parlor you go to get a little tuggy wuggy. You will never bring her there. You'll bring her to the nice place down the street from your house. You won't go all the way to the other side of the west side of Chicago and go see Hung Ming them. You ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna bring sand to the beach. So I could see her being on the outs because Bill wanted to, get some different type of cheekage. But there is something kind of strange about the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew worked for Hillary on her campaign and then worked for her in the State Department. That is kind of weird. I'm not going to sit up there and watch that full thing. They just keep asking the same questions. So, yeah, let's see what's going on with Bill.
Get yours before it's gone with offer code MAKEITREAL for 10% off your domain or website. Terms and conditions apply.
We only gonna watch the key.
I do think
moments.
You should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him, and you have a right to ask those questions. So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. be 8 years old if I lived to the next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can.
She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever receive a
Actually,
massage or
let's
have
watch
physical
the
contact from her
full.
or anyone
Let's
else
watch the
on that
full
trip?
deposition. I don't want to watch half of it.
All right, we will go on the record. This is a deposition of former President William Jefferson Clinton conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform under the authority granted to it pursuant to House Rule 10. Accordingly, House Rule 10 grants the committee broad jurisdiction for the committee to conduct investigations of any matter at any time. On July 23, 2025, the Subcommittee on Federal Law Enforcement of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform voted by voice to approve a motion directing the chairman to authorize and issue a subpoena to you for a deposition.
Relationship with Mr. Epstein. Did you ever, at any point during your interactions with Jeffrey Epstein, know about the sexual abuse that he was committing against minors and young women?
No.
Have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
With respect to your relationship with Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, did you ever, at any point during your interactions with Ghislaine Maxwell, know about the sexual abuse that she committed and facilitated against minors and young women?
No.
Have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
Have you ever, at any point, visited Jeffrey Epstein's former estate on Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
No.
In February of last year, Attorney General Pam Bondi said on Fox News that you traveled on Mr. Epstein's plane, quote, because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. I will ask you, did you fly on Mr. Epstein's plane because it had a bed where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls?
No.
Are there any
I
other
bit my lip.
accusations that have been made against you with respect to Mr. Epstein that you'd like to address before we get started with some chronological questions?
I think you pretty well covered it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will ask a series of chronological questions. I'd like to try to create one clear chronological record. Some of that might be repetitive from what you've already talked about. I will try to keep that to a minimum. All of these questions are from a long time ago. If you don't recall anything about what I'm asking, just let me know. Starting with events before and during your presidency, the earliest known link that we're aware of between yourself and Mr. Epstein is that he made a pair of campaign contributions to you in 1992. There was a $1,000 contribution to your presidential election committee in January 1992, and another $1,000 in June to the Clinton Corps General Election Compliance Fund. I imagine a lot of folks donated $1,000 to your campaign. Do you have any specific recollection or knowledge of those particular contributions?
No, I think this is the first time I've ever known that.
Thank you. That takes us into your time as president. You were elected in November of 1992 and inaugurated in January of 1993. Mr. Epstein visited the White House a number of times while you were in office. Our understanding is that Mr. Epstein visited the White House 17 times between 1993 and 1995. I'm not going to walk you through each of those visits. I'm just going to break them in categories. I think first, with respect to the only Epstein visit where it is publicly known that you either met Mr. Epstein or had some interaction, was the White House Historical Association reception that you mentioned earlier. I know there's a photograph that you mentioned of yourself and Mr. Epstein meeting. Am I right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell at that event?
I don't.
With respect to the other 16 times that Mr. Epstein came and went, and that spanned 1993 to 1995, am I right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein any of those times?
No, I don't think I did, and I don't know who he saw.
It's been publicly reported that in March of 1995, there was a fundraiser in Palm Beach that you attended and that Mr. Epstein also attended. Other guests reportedly included Jimmy Buffett and investor Ron Perlman, who may have hosted the event at his home. Do you have any specific recollection of that event?
I remember going there in 1995. I have now seen the picture with Jeffrey Epstein and Jimmy Buffett. I recognize Jimmy Buffett. He was a longtime friend of mine. He performed for me twice in my second term as president. And we were friends for the rest of his life. But that's it. I don't know if he knew Mr. Epstein. I have no idea what that picture was. I didn't remember it.
And so is it right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein?
No, I don't.
At that fundraiser, just for the transcript?
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce as Minority Exhibit C an article from the Daily Beast titled Jeffrey Epstein Visited Clinton White House Multiple Times in Early 90s. That article is dated July 24th, 2019. Once you receive it, I'll just direct you to page 8 of the article that you're about to receive.
Okay.
I'll give you a moment to look that note over, and then I'll read the relevant portion into the record. page 8.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So you can see here that on April 27th, 1995, Lynn Forrester, now Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, sounds like served on a few committees or boards under your administration, wrote you a note. I'll just read part of that note out loud. Dear Mr. President, it was a pleasure to see you recently at Senator Kennedy's house. There was too much to discuss and too little time. Using my 15 seconds of access to discuss Jeffrey Epstein and currency stabilization, I neglected to talk to you about a topic near and dear to my heart, namely affirmative action and the future. And that's the end of the relevant portion. I just wanted to ask whether you have any specific recollection of this note or of your conversation with Ms. Forrester.
I don't.
As far as you can remember, at this point in the middle of 1995, how would you have characterized your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
It would be virtually non-existent.
Do you recall any other interactions that occurred between yourself and Mr. Epstein during your time in office that have not already been mentioned today?
No. I think I told you everything I know.
In October of 1999, toward the end of your time in office, we know that Epstein contributed $20,000 to the First Lady's joint fundraising account. Would you have any memory or knowledge of that particular contribution?
No, was that for a White House related thing?
No, joint fundraising means the Senate.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Okay, I am going to move to the years after your presidency. I will do this in chronological order as well.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice.
So your second term ended in January of 2001. In December of 2001, the New York Post reported that you and Ms. Maxwell had dinner at a New York City restaurant called Mellows. Do you have any specific recollection of that dinner?
No. I don't know. I didn't. Nor do I remember the article.
So moving into 2002, you touched on this in the previous round. It sounds like there were two meetings. We don't have exact dates for them, but one of them was at your office in Harlem with Mr. Epstein. The other was at Mr. Epstein's home in New York City. Could you just repeat for us, what do you recall about each meeting, maybe starting with your office in Harlem?
I just remember that sometime in 2002, I think, that he paid a visit, and he had become, I think it was either after or just before we started the flights. But he obviously was going to be a serious supporter of the foundation, and I think he paid a visit. I was flattered he wanted to see my office. I liked it.
And then the meeting at his home in New York City, did I hear you say in the previous hour that Mr. Epstein was not actually there?
I said that when I wrote my book and talked about it, and when I've talked about it in the past, I realized I talked as if he were there, and of course he was there. And I started trying to picture the nice man on the staff that showed me around. And now I'm just being honest, I don't remember whether he was there or not. He could have been there, but I don't remember.
As far as you can recall, would the purpose of that meeting also have been related to Mr. Epstein's support of your work through his plane, for example?
Yeah, the reason we went by, regardless of who was there, was that my staff we finished an event in New York City that at a place, and Lord knows how many I've done since then, I don't remember what it was for, but it was in New York City. And my staff, they said, we're only a couple blocks from Epstein's house. It's a converted elementary school. He's very proud of it. And I think, it'd be a nice thing to do since it's early. You could just go by and take a look at it. So that's what we did.
Do you recall seeing anything or anyone in his home that was suspicious or reflected abnormally young women or girls?
No, the only people I saw there that night were staff. And him if he was there. I just don't remember.
Do you recall seeing any images of young girls or women at Epstein's home?
No.
So moving to some of the travel on Mr. Epstein's plane, and we have specific dates for a lot of that, I'd like to move through that chronology of known trips, just one at a time in order. To begin, flight logs indicate that on February 9th of 2002, and we'll give you the logs, you flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from Miami to Westchester County, New York, with Epstein, Maxwell, and some others. And you mentioned this flight in the previous round as well. I will introduce that flight log as Minority Exhibit D. And we'll give you a moment to receive that and take a look at it.
Is this one page?
It is one page, exactly. And the flight in question, the leftmost column has a number 9 on it, and you can see your name at the beginning in one of the middle columns.
Excuse me, at the top? It says 15. Are you talking about a date? Could you just?
Yeah, the one on February 9th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I do see it.
Great. I'll just ask some specific questions. As an initial question, and we can see it here, you had a Secret Service detail that traveled with you after you left office, presumably still does. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And did that detail accompany you on all trips that you took with Mr. Epstein?
Yes.
For this trip from Miami to Westchester, first, just do you recall the circumstances of the trip?
I was down there and I was coming home. I don't remember why I was down there.
In terms of who was present on the flight, and we'll do this exercise with the other trips as well, are you able to make out from the initials here, maybe who is who? In other words, I can see your name, and I can see 4 Secret Service. And then from there, we have 2 males, 1 female, I think Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and then SK and AP. Do you have any recollection of who any of those folks may have been?
No. I just don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't. And the initials, they don't mean anything to me.
This isn't a record from yours. This is their record.
Yeah.
In February in 2002, so the same month as this flight, it was reported that you and Ms. Maxwell were seated together at some type of charity gala in New York. I don't know what the charity was or where exactly the event occurred. Do you have any recollection of what I'm referring to?
Could you state the date again, sorry?
In the same month, February 2002, and I don't have an exact date.
What was it reported?
Simply that you and Ms. Maxwell were seated together at a charity gala in New York.
Wow. I have no recollection of it, but it could have happened.
Heading into March of 2002, so the following month, we have a series of international travel, and the first of those trips indicates that on March 19th and 21st of 2002, you flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from JFK to London and back with Mr. Epstein, Ms. Maxwell, and some others. We will introduce those flight logs as Minority Exhibit E and go through the same exercise.
Go, go, go! The client's waiting!
Wait! This is last year's deck.
Oops.
So many files to make sense of. My brain's just gonna explode.
Enough with the circus. Introducing Zoho Work Drive. Team folders keep your files where they belong. So when your team needs the right file, they'll never get it wrong. Whoa, whoa, hold that fire. Zia Hubs can find all the answers you desire. Zoho Work Drive, the smarter solution in cloud collaboration.
Well, we are in day 3 of President Trump's military operation in Iran. It's the most courageous military.
And that's the 19th and the 21st.
The 19th and 21st?
Yes. Down toward the bottom of the page.
Oh, that's great.
Is this a flight to London?
Yes.
Yeah, this says we had 10 Secret Service agents.
So I guess just to start with, do you recall the circumstances or the reason for this trip?
And this was when?
This was March of 2002.
I don't, but keep in mind, there was a lot of stuff going on. India, in the late January, 4 days after I left office, had a horrible earthquake, and lots of people died. And I called the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Vajpayee, who belongs to the current leader's party, but was much less uber nationalist. And I asked him if I could help. And he said yes. He said, I have the money and organization to fix the big cities, but not the smaller towns. And we need schools, we need hospitals, we need all the stuff rebuilt. Will you help? So that's the first thing I undertook to do, even before the AIDS thing, after I left the White House. So I was there. So by March of 2002, the next year, we were still working on that, and then the South Asian tsunami hit in December. So I was doing all this stuff and also trying to get set up at home too. So that's why it sounds unusual for me to have 10 Secret Service agents, but I must have been going to several stops.
And is it the same for you when you look at some of these names? I can make out the name Naomi Campbell. Do you have any recollection of Naomi Campbell being on this flight?
Naomi, when we went to Europe once, I think she went on one. She was a friend of Doug's, and that's what I remember. Let me see. Yep. And Jeffrey Ghislaine. I don't know who the other people are.
Looks like Doug Band is listed there. And that.
Yeah, he's there, but SK, I don't know who that is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving to May of 2002, just 2 months after the one we just looked at, Flight logs show a series of flights around Asia. Got 5 flights, including Hong Kong, China, Singapore, and Thailand. I'll introduce the flight logs for that trip. Just take a look at it together as Minority Exhibit F. You still need it, right?
We do need it. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you very much. You said
So
what?
those are from the 22nd to the 25th.
Let me just highlight that for a second. 22nd. And you're saying each one till the 25th?
Yeah, so the first one lists the former president, and then 4 in a row after that lists same as above. So it's the same group of folks for about 5 flights
Yep.
there. So same question.
Share what you
Anyway, to the best of my memory, this was a trip to raise funds to organize our health network in Asia, which was basically
To receive those.
What was the prior one?
Prior one would have been F.
And that was the May 2002 flight log.
Where's F?
No, I put F on that, but I thought that was. Sorry, so you're.
After you, Mr. President, have you ever lied in a deposition?
No.
Have you ever lied while under oath?
No.
Thank you. Were you personally aware that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times during your presidency?
At the time it happened?
Yes.
No, at the time it happened, I was not.
Do you know, so Jeffrey Epstein never asked to meet with you personally in the White House while you were president during those 17 visits?
Not to my knowledge.
Would you know who he was meeting with?
No.
Okay,
I
well,
didn't know he was coming.
is that standard protocol for the president to not know of someone who is visiting the White House 17 times?
So wait, excuse me, just to be clear.
While you were president.
The White House office, which has 1,600 employees. You're speaking of the White House office.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think that most presidents don't have a clue who's coming in every day unless it's somebody of personal interest to the president.
Yes, and you did have a familiar relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
No, I wasn't aware I'd ever met him when I was president.
While you were president. We are trying to establish if Jeffrey Epstein was a foreign or potentially even a domestic asset of some kind. Do you have any reason to believe that he was trying to seek access to classified materials, intelligence reports, or sensitive government information?
No, I knew nothing about this story until it came up. I was glad to see that picture of the
Yes, and Mr.
passport.
President, sorry to interrupt you. Mr. President, since knowing Jeffrey Epstein and knowing that he had visited the White House, were there any conversations from your associates, any White House staff, or anyone familiar with the meetings that said he was seeking detailed information about government relationships?
Does that question relate to back in the day or now? What's the time of the question?
I'm asking, since you have been aware, any time since after you were aware that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times, has there been any conversations with anyone that you are aware of that Jeffrey Epstein was seeking sensitive government information?
That's to the best of your recollection.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And moving on, at any time while you were traveling on any aircraft owned, leased, or otherwise affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein, did you engage in sexual relations or sexual activities with anyone other than your wife?
No.
During any such flight, did you witness or have knowledge of any other individual engaging in sexual activities with any female passengers?
No.
In 2002, you participated in a 10-day multi-country trip to Africa while traveling on a Boeing 727 owned by Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. This trip was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you recall this trip, Mr. President?
I recall the trip, but I don't know that it was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe we were going places that I needed to go for my work in Africa.
Yes, sir. Internal FBI records describe the aircraft as having section with couches adjacent to which a sliding glass door leading to another compartment. There was a bed. Are you familiar with the layout of this aircraft that you traveled on?
I'm familiar with the fact that there was a bench that turned into a bed at the end of the passenger seats.
And no other bed you are familiar with? Did you ever go into any part of the aircraft with a bed that you perhaps lied on or utilized?
I'm familiar with the bench.
Yes.
That turned into the bed.
Yes.
I do not believe I ever went into the back section.
And at any time while traveling on such aircraft, do you remember utilizing either the bench that laid? I'll keep it as one option for now. Do you remember utilizing the bench as a bed? Was it laid out as a bed?
I remember.
I don't remember, but that doesn't mean I didn't. I'm familiar with the note.
Yes, sir. FBI internal records relay testimony from Dr. Greg Bledsoe, who participated on the 2002 Africa trip. Did Dr. Bledsoe describe multiple millionaires? Dr. Bledsoe does describe multiple millionaires and billionaires on the plane. Do you remember any of the names of those individuals, potentially even the actor Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, Kevin was on the plane.
Did Dr. Bledsoe also describe, he also describes multiple young women were present on the flight, and that Maxwell appeared to be in a position over the girls on the plane and was directing the girls. Can you describe the purpose of these women participating in this multi-country
Objection, form of the
trip?
question. No objection to asking the president what he saw, observed, heard, but he can't possibly speak to what Maxwell was agreeing on.
Did you witness, Mr. President, Ms. Maxwell appearing to be in a position over other girls on the plane and possibly directing the girls?
Well, I thought that she was Epstein's top aide and that she was basically in charge of what happened.
What did happen, Mr. President?
I don't know. I mean, I've already told you this. I'll tell it again. I never saw anybody do anything wrong. I thought they were flight attendants.
Do flight attendants typically wear tank tops and jeans?
They don't all wear uniforms on private planes.
Yes, sir. Most are dressed probably pretty business class. But
So
moving on.
his testimony was, with respect to private aircraft, people are not wearing uniforms.
Correct. Dr. Bledsoe described at least one of the girls serving as a masseuse. At any point, did you or other male passengers receive a massage from this young woman or any other young women who were described as a masseuse?
Well, I've seen one picture that shows that in a airport waiting area, one of the women was massaging my neck. That's all I've seen.
Have you received more than one massage from these trips with Mr. Epstein and the young girls that were present?
I don't recall them, but the problem I remember from that trip was that my neck had spasmed and I was in, and so they offered to help and I let them help. One left.
She asked whether or not you recalled any other massage.
No, I do not.
Thank you. Mr. President, moving on to my next question. Submitted to the record, we have a painting that seems to be of you, Mr. President, found in one of Jeffrey Epstein's residences, wearing a, I would categorize it as a famous blue dress worn by the White House intern, Monica Lewinsky. And I have this image here. This image is being passed around. If we need to go off the record while we do that, we can.
I can take the picture. Do you have a question?
It will be marked as Majority Exhibit 15. Proceeding.
Thank you. So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that is looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
He doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
my question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
Do you know why someone would paint this?
Are you asking
Objection. That's calls for speculation. You can ask the artist.
And if I had known Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, it would have saved me this whole day.
Did you ever introduce Epstein to Monica Lewinsky or any other young female White House staffers?
I did not.
Did Epstein ever request introductions to young female intern staffers of you? Did he request you to introduce them? And one regarding this exhibit 15, this portrait, to the right of this image, there appears to be a plain letterhead document that is framed in a gold frame. Are you familiar with?
But he's testified that he's not seen this picture?
The painting we asked, yes. And now I'm asking about the image next to it. So
Are you asking whether or not he's familiar with what's in this small frame?
The part that you have covered up. I'm asking if he's familiar with this letterhead letter that was
Is this part of the painting?
No, sir. This is next to the painting, and it's framed on the wall in the home of Jeffrey Epstein. I guess a better way to ask, other than the birthday note that was passed around here today for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, Mr. President, did you ever handwrite Jeffrey Epstein any other notes?
Well, I wouldn't remember except that I've seen a picture recently of another note where I thank him for getting me away from the crowd on the airplane for a while so I could take a note nap.
Yes. Okay, Mr. President, I just have two more questions for you, and then I will let you go. And again, I'm so grateful for your time here today. We also have another exhibit from the committee, and it's page 49, I believe, and the, how do you want to classify this one?
It will be marked as Majority Exhibit 16.
In this is a portion of Virginia Giuffre and her testimony. And in it, she is referencing you, Mr. President, and says he, Mr. Clinton, told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. They are all in each other's pockets. She's asked, I'm sorry, maybe that wasn't you that you was referencing, Clinton. I'll start over. He told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. I believe that's referring to Mr. Epstein. They're all in each other's pockets.
Sorry, could you, so what line are you starting
Yes,
at?
ma'am. I'm starting at the first line, and I do believe I incorrectly said that she was referencing Mr. Clinton. So to correct that.
She's not referencing President Clinton. She's referencing instead? Who?
I believe this is Jeffrey Epstein that she is referencing here.
Thank you, Ms. Bobo.
Thank you. And then she's asked, would you say you asked him why Bill Clinton was here? And Virginia responds, on the island. where he was here on the island. And she goes on to say,
Excuse me, can you clarify who JS is?
Can we look and see who JS is?
It says V and then it says JS. So
yes,
is this
I will get you that name.
But this is a
Here, I can
conversation
pull it up
between
right
two
here.
people, or is this a
Yes,
transcript of a deposition?
This is a transcript of a deposition, yes.
Thank you so much.
It says telecon at the top. Doesn't appear to be a deposition.
It says,
What do we have this as?
I'm not objecting.
No, that's fine. And we can go off the record if you want, just to get this. So this is, go ahead.
We'll go off the record.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and the YouTube Music app all together. One subscription, 2 apps. Try one.
We can go back on the record.
Thank you very much. And this is a long dialogue between Mr. Jack Scarola and Virginia Giuffre. And I will summarize this. It is mentioned by Virginia that everyone owes him, presumably Jeffrey Epstein here, favors. Mr. President, were you ever in the position to owe Jeffrey Epstein a favor?
I didn't consider that. I thought we had an understanding about the airplanes, that he would let me use the airplane to set up my AIDS programs around the world if I agreed to talk to him for an hour about economics and politics on every long leg. I kept my word, and he seemed to honor his.
Were there any sensitive government topics ever discussed in those conversations? And also here,
just for the
Virginia.
record, the court reporter get his response. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll try not to talk over you. Wrapping up here. Virginia Giuffre is also asked in this document.
The same one you handed us?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should be looking at?
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. JS is speaking. Were sexual orgies a regular occurrence on the island at Jeffrey's house? Yes. My question, Mr. President, were you ever aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
Are these on the island where he's testified that he's
No,
not
ma'am,
on the
I
island?
was never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in the Virgin Islands?
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
With
sorry,
Jeffrey
what's your
Epstein?
question?
No.
You were never in the Virginia Islands?
In the Virgin Islands with
with
Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Okay, thank you. Mr. President, there's been new information that has come out regarding the autopsy of Mr. Epstein. I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the President thinks of...
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein
Are you
suicidal?
classifying him as a friend who he has testified that
He
he's
has called
friendly?
him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not, you've asked for his
Mr.
testimony.
President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's asking
suicidal?
the best of your
I
understanding.
don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe he finally got caught. And I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened.
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
That he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you,
neither
Mr.
do you.
President.
We don't. None of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, in the previous hour, you discussed your relationship with Ms. Maxwell, and I have a few general follow-up questions. And I may make you repeat yourself, but I'll try hard to not ask you questions you've already answered. First, can you characterize your relationship with Ms. Maxwell after your presidency?
Well, I didn't, to the best of my memory, I didn't see her very much until I started flying on Mr. Epstein's airplane.
And for the record, would you at any time ever consider her to be a friend?
Oh, yes, I would.
What years would you consider her to be a friend?
I don't know, when she started going with Ted Wade, I saw her more frequently because I saw him more frequently. Then she was around CGI. So if you compare the time I spent with her to the time I spent with Mr. Epstein, I spent more time and I felt that we were better friends.
How did you typically communicate with Ms. Maxwell?
When she showed up at something that I was doing, or like.
So in person?
At CGI, yeah. I bet I never talked to her on the phone more than twice in my life.
And what were the nature of your communications with Ms. Maxwell?
What you recall?
I don't recall anything. I don't recall what they were, but she was always, I don't know. She was very interested in CGI. I remember that. And That's it.
And for the record, Mr. President, did you ever have any communications with Ms. Maxwell related to young women or girls?
No.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 17. And while it's being handed out, I will note for the record that this is the transcript from the two-day Ghislaine Maxwell interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, conducted by the Department of Justice on July 24th and 25th of 2025. And I will not be making you read the entire transcript. I will direct your attention when you've had a chance.
Okay.
Mr. President, have you seen this transcript prior to
Before?
today? Yes.
No.
I'd like to direct your attention to day 1, and we are looking specifically at the bottom of page 9.
Yep.
And
No, we need a copy down here.
Do we have a second copy and a third copy?
give me 1 second. Here,
Thank you so much
We'll
for
go off the
your
record briefly. We will go back on the record.
Yep.
During Ms. Maxwell's interview, she stated that President Clinton was her friend, not Epstein's friend. Is that accurate?
I'd say that it was accurate to say that I felt closer to her than him.
And for the record, why was that?
Because I had seen her more and because she was very good friends with Evelyn Rothschild and his wife Lynn, whom I knew and was in regular touch with. And
Okay, we're on page 1. Just want to make sure you're reading the right section.
She characterized your relationship with her as warmer.
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Would you agree with that?
Warmer than with Jeffrey Epstein?
Correct.
oh yes, but it was not in any way sexual.
At this time, I'd like to direct your attention to day 2 of the transcript, and now we are looking at the bottom of page 12, and it is page
I see it.
258 and 259.
This is interesting.
Wait, pardon me. Sorry, I'm not with you. The bottom of page 12 says 42 to 45.
Of day 2.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
Day 2, page 12.
Yes.
Page 252.
257 to 260.
Okay.
258 and 259.
Okay, got it.
Can you hold
No.
for 1 second? Can you wait?
What do you have? $258, $259?
Correct.
Got it.
Are you asking us to read that?
Yes.
All of 258 and all of 259?
Correct.
Okay, is there part of this you want me to read?
No, he has a question. He wants to make sure you read through here and you read through here.
Okay.
Chevy Equinox is ready for your daily drives, weekend getaways, and everything in between. Plenty of cargo space, plus a big touchscreen that keeps all your tech right where you need it. It's more than an SUV. It's your Equinox. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
He's asking about these two. You read them? This and this. No, you don't have to read the other part yet. Ready?
Yes. Got it.
Mr. President, you've had a chance to review the transcript. Here, Blanche asks Maxwell if she has ever visited your home in Chappaqua, to which Maxwell testifies that she had been invited to visit your home. For the record, did Miss Maxwell ever visit your home in Chappaqua?
It wouldn't
Excuse me,
surprise-
counsel, the transcript says I went to the house. Does it say invited? Did I miss that?
Maxwell replies after Blanche asks,
Got it.
why
Sorry.
did you go to the house?
You're right.
Maxwell says, I was invited.
Got it.
I will repeat the question again. Did Miss Maxwell ever visit your home in Chappaqua?
I don't recall, but it's quite possible she did. Hillary was a senator. In the beginning, she had a lot of events there. And we knew her.
During the same exchange, Miss Maxwell implies that she may have been just driving past Chappaqua and stopped in if you were home. Did this ever occur?
If you don't.
Not that I remember, but I may not have been home.
But Mr. President, is it common for people to just stop by your house?
No. There
And
are
for the
more than
record-
1 or 2 people who do that.
So for the record, you're a former president. Does your security detail allow people to show up unannounced?
Well, they'd allow them to, but your question is whether or not the security allows them in.
Yeah, they have to be cleared to be able to come and go.
Thank you.
Like that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask about Doug Band, and what was Doug Band's relationship with you, sir?
Well, it changed over time, but he was basically the last in a long line of young men. They were my sort of body people. They were close to me and supposed to get me where I was trying to go in time and all of that. And then after he and another young man, Justin Cooper, wanted to come with me when I left the White House. You know, when you leave the White House, they give you, you get, I don't know, a certain allocation for staff. And I think there are 9 positions you can put on federal health insurance. I think that's right. But anyway, Doug and Justin were 2 of them.
So it's he's pretty close.
What?
You were pretty close.
We were close, and Justin wrote my book with me, and he did all the, you know, the clerical work, and Doug was our main fundraiser when we started off.
I'd like to introduce Majority Exhibit, I believe it would be 18, which is the EFTA 02332287.
Thank you very much.
So this is pretty short. This is an email from Doug Band to
Yep, I'm familiar with it.
To GMAX, which is commonly known as Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep.
It says, for the record, the email states, "You back? Another way to get in touch with me quicker is on my BlackBerry, actually the president's, but we share it." The email that's listed there, WJC, is that your email address? Or was that your email address?
Practically, no. That is, I never sent 1 email on it.
But you recognize that?
I recognize it, and I think Doug thought it would increase his cachet if he had an email with WCC on it. And
But he's asking you, is this your email, Mr. President?
no, I didn't send her emails on it.
Did you share a BlackBerry with Mr. Band?
Well, he says we did, but I think I finally got another BlackBerry.
But this was back before. Okay, sorry. Mr. President, this is back in, think of the year, look at the year, so you make sure you're answering the question.
2001.
Did you have a phone in 2000? He's asking you, was this your BlackBerry, or did you share this BlackBerry with him?
Well, I've been out of office then 9 months.
Did you have a phone, Mr. President?
I don't think I did. Anyway, but the truth is I don't remember. I just know that I did not email.
Okay, so you did not email. How often do you send emails? Or did you send emails?
Have you ever sent an email, Mr. President?
I sent one email to John Glenn, Senator John Glenn, when he was in space at age 77. And I sent an email to the men and women aboard a U.S. ship in the Adriatic during the Kosovo War.
Have you sent any other emails, Mr. President? He's asking.
Since then, I'm not sure I've sent one.
Okay. I'd like to introduce Majority Exhibit number 19.
Makes me a certified.
Which ends in 2335030.
Yeah.
One day soon.
Okay, if you're ready, I'll be happy to read it out loud. It's again, it's from GMAX, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, right.
We believe, well, it's redacted. Having seen the unredacted files, we believe that the 2 is to the same email. It says, "Sorry to hear about the
potentially doing."
Excuse me, Congressman, which question are you asking?
I'm asking
Intel
if the
operation?
First of all, I don't.
Some type of intel operation. I'm just curious because it's been speculated on today and yesterday that he may have been an intel asset. Do you think, perhaps knowing what we know now, the proclivity of it all, that he may have been targeting you as part of an intel operation?
I doubt it.
In 2019, you stated, after he was arrested, I guess this would be the second time, you stated you knew nothing of Epstein's, quote, terrible crime since you only met, quote, briefly on only, quote, 2 occasions. Was this statement false?
Excuse me, Congressman.
That's not an accurate statement. Can you please share us the details?
Yes. In 2019, as reported by the media.
Which media?
This says this is the.
Could you share a copy of it, please?
Okay, Daily Beast. It says the title of this is Bill Clinton failed to mention his intimate 1995 dinner with Epstein.
We can give counsel and the witness a moment to review the exhibit.
Well, we'd like the statement. I mean, he put out
I don't know
a
anything about
statement in 2019, full statement.
And it will be marked Exhibit 22.
So to be clear, the basis of your question is a news article with respect to the Daily Beast as to a dinner. Is that accurate?
Nope, it's a question in the first paragraph which reads, hours after Jeffrey Epstein was arraigned Monday on several sex trafficking charges, former President Bill Clinton publicly downplayed his relationship with the pedophile financier, saying he knew nothing of his terrible crime since they only met briefly on 2 occasions.
And that's in the Daily Beast.
Correct,
is that
which
not
is in your hand right now.
Great, that's what I just said. Thank you.
Well, what would
What's
you
your
like to
question?
know?
So my question is, you stated you'd only met Jeffrey Epstein in 2019. You stated you only met him on 2 occasions. Was this statement false when you made
To be
it?
clear, this is a news reporting that is saying that that's what
Did
he
you
said.
make this statement in 2019?
Congressman, would you put in the statement that he made? This is a news report.
Okay.
It's double hearsay.
Did
So-
you make this statement in 2019 as reported by the media?
So you're asking whether or not he made a statement to the Daily Beast?
Nope, it says, quote, it's quoting him or his office, etc. Are you denying you made the statement?
It's quoting a sentence. If you put in the entire statement, that's all we ask. To be fair, give him the statement, not somebody's reporter. I have no idea what the Daily Beast stake is.
There was a statement that was released that was broader than this, and they relied on only a portion of it. They relied on only a portion of his full
And that's
statement.
the portion I'm focusing on.
Well,
he said
then-
only with Jeff Jeffrey
so it's
Epstein on 2
actually a
occasions.
misrepresentation of his entire statement.
Well, can you let your client answer the question?
Well, can you ask it in a way that would make it clear that what you were
I'm
actually
being very
asking
clear. His statement said
is
he
the
met with
broader
Jeffrey
question
Epstein.
of what did he say?
He said he briefly met with him only
No,
on 2
the
occasions.
Daily Beast selected that piece
So
out.
are you denying that the president made this statement?
What I'm saying is that there was an entire statement. That's the statement on which the president spoke to.
Would you like to provide it to this committee?
We're happy to provide that committee.
Okay, I would like to ask the president this question. Was that a false statement that he made in 2019 that he only met with Jeffrey Epstein briefly on 2 occasions?
Object to the basis of this question.
Wait, wait.
This is, you're asking him about a news article, not the
It's
statement he
quoting
made.
him. It's quoting the president of the United States. Are you
Quoting a
denying? Are you denying the president made this statement?
I'm
Are
telling
you denying he
No,
made the
I'm
statement?
telling
I want to know.
No, I'm telling you that the
Are you
president
making
made
a
a full
false statement
statement. You are selecting a piece of it. Let's put in the
My
entire
source,
statement he made.
I wasn't in federal office in 2019. I was not a part of this committee. I was a state house rep from Goose Creek, South Carolina, and I'm quoting open sources that I have. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not rich with a bunch of attorneys, okay? I'm doing the best that I can to get the information I can, and I'm asking if the president was telling a lie in 2019 when he stated to the public he'd only met with Jeffrey Epstein on 2 occasions.
He did not say to the public. You're misrepresenting. Congresswoman Mays. Let me be clear. Not asking about your right to ask him.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up.
So are you asking his opinion?
Well, he
You're
was
asking his
massaged by a
opinion?
young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of...
That's the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay, have you ever flown on anyone else's...
Dean would say
Correct.
something about
Why would Epstein say that?
Not at all. And with that, we can end this round and go off the record.
We'll go back on the record. Mr. President, during the last hour, there was a discussion related to your book with Minority Counsel, and I just want to read the excerpt into the record. And just a quick question for clarification. You said, I had always thought Epstein was odd, but had no inkling of the crimes he was committing. He hurt a lot of people, but I knew nothing about it. And by the time he was first arrested in 2005, I had stopped contact with him. We understand that Mr. Epstein was...
Thank you for being here with us for hours today. I know it's been a long...
Okay, I mean...
No,
Can you explain it around?
I can't. I'm sorry, we made a mistake.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. President, Congresswoman Nancy Mace from South Carolina, thank you for being here. Us for hours today. I know it's been a long day, and I know that we're going to wrap up soon for you. Did you know one of the witnesses who testified in the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young? Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say
Correct.
something
Why
about
would-
him?
why would Epstein say that
So she's
about the
asking you to
president?
try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
Okay.
At my age, anybody younger than
Did
I
you
am.
know Jeffrey Epstein instructed a witness to deny you were ever on his island?
He didn't have to since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Is that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Have you ever flown on anyone else's private jet 26 times or more for overseas trips?
I have flown as many miles on other jets, but never with as many stops.
How many other people's planes have you used, like Epstein 26 times or miles, etc.?
I don't know. I did with Steve Bean, who's now deceased, and probably with 4 or 5 others.
Okay. So maybe about a half dozen billionaires total. So how many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein in attendance?
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
I have no idea.
Okay. Did you ever discuss sexual misconduct allegations made against you with Epstein or Maxwell?
Never.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer to help manage or silence women who made sexual misconduct allegations against you?
No.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer financial support directly or indirectly to legal defense funds related to impeachment proceedings or civil actions against you?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think a young girl massaging a president is unusual?
So are you asking his opinion?
Well, he
You're
was
asking his
massaged by a
opinion?
young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of the free world, that
So I'm
it's
sorry,
unusual.
are you speaking to, are you talking to the instance of the,
Yes, it's unusual
the
that a
back
woman would be
massage that
massaging-
occurred while he was not president? I'm just trying to understand. You said a president of the United States?
Former president?
Thank you. Just trying to make sure we're correcting the
Are you
time frame.
filibustering?
No, I don't need
Okay.
to. I'm actually trying to make
I
sure
think
that as
I'm
you...
pretty clear. He said
You said he was a sitting president.
Excuse me, could we just please go one at a time? Thank you.
You said a sitting president. I want you to be clear so that when he answers
Former
you,
sitting
the record
president.
is
How do you want to do
clear.
it? Is it unusual?
I have no idea if it's unusual.
Objection calls for speculation.
I figured. Did you ever think that all these women around Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell was odd, unusual, weird, or creepy?
There weren't all that many around when I was there.
How many would you say is not all that many?
I think on this big plane that was working long hours, having 2 to 4 people on there, I thought was, as far as I knew, they were all helping.
Flight attendants in tank tops and jeans, right?
No.
Do you believe you were a victim of a Jeffrey Epstein intel operation? Do you think that you might have been caught up in some of what he was maybe potentially doing?
Excuse me, Congressman, which question are you asking?
I'm asking
Intel
if the-
operation?
First of all, I don't.
Some type of intel operation. I'm just curious because it's been speculated on today and yesterday
understand.
that he may have been an intel asset. Do you think, perhaps knowing what we know now, the proclivity of it all, that he may have been targeting you as part of an intel operation?
I doubt it.
In 2019, you stated, after he was arrested, I guess this would be the second time, you stated you knew nothing of Epstein's, quote, terrible crime since you only met, quote, briefly on only, quote, 2 occasions. Was this statement false?
Excuse me, Congressman.
That's not an accurate statement. Can you please share us the details?
Yes, in 2019, as reported by the media.
Which media?
This says this is the.
Could you share a copy of it, please?
Okay, Daily Beast. It says the title of this is Bill Clinton failed to mention his intimate 1995 dinner with Epstein.
We can give counsel and the witness a moment to review the exhibit.
Well, we'd like the statement. I mean, he put
Yeah,
out
I don't know
a
anything about
statement in 2019, full statement.
And it will be marked Exhibit 22.
So to be clear, the basis of your question is a news article with respect to the Daily Beast as to a dinner. Is that accurate?
Nope, it's a question in the first paragraph, which reads, hours after Jeffrey Epstein was arraigned Monday on several sex trafficking charges, former President Bill Clinton publicly downplayed his relationship with the pedophile financier, saying he knew nothing of his terrible crimes since they only met briefly on 2 occasions.
And that's in the Daily Beast.
Correct,
that
which
not
is in
correct?
your hand right now.
Great, that's what I just said. Thank you.
Well, what would
What's
you
your
like to
question?
know?
So my question is, you stated you'd only met Jeffrey Epstein in 2019. You stated you only met him on 2 occasions. Was this statement false when you made
To
it?
be clear, this is a news reporting that is saying that that's what
Did
he
you
said.
make this statement in 2019?
Congressman, would you put in a statement that he made? This is a news report.
Okay.
It's double hearsay.
Did
So-
you? No. Did you make this statement in 2019 as reported by the media?
So you're asking whether or not he made a statement to the Daily Beast?
Nope. It says, quote, it's quoting him or his office, etc. Are you denying you made this statement?
It's quoting a sentence. If you put in the entire statement, that's all we ask. To be fair, give him the statement, not somebody's reporter. I have no idea what the Daily Beast take is.
It was a statement that was released that was broader than this, and they relied on only a portion of it. They relied on only a portion of his full
And that's
statement.
the portion I'm focusing on.
Well,
he said
then,
he believed with Jeffrey
so
Epstein
it's
on 2
actually a
occasions.
misrepresentation of his entire statement.
Can you let your client answer the question?
Well, can you ask it in a way that would make it clear that what you were
I'm being
actually
very
asking
clear. His statement said
is
he
the
met with
broader
Jeffrey
question
Epstein.
of what did he say?
He said he briefly met with him only
No,
on 2
the
occasions.
Daily Beast selected that piece
So
out.
are you denying that the president made this statement?
What I'm saying is that there was an entire statement. That's the statement on which the president spoke to.
Would you like to provide it to this committee?
We're happy to provide that committee.
Okay, I would like to ask the president this question. Was that a false statement that he made in 2019 that he only met with Jeffrey Epstein briefly on 2 occasions?
Object to the basis of this question.
Wait.
This is, you're asking him about a news article, not the
It's
statement he
quoting
made.
him. It's quoting the president of the United States.
Quoting
Are
a
you
sentence.
denying? Are you denying the president made the statement?
Are
you denying he made the statement? I want to know.
No, I'm telling you that
Are
the
you
president
making a
made a full
false statement
statement. You are selecting a piece of it. Let's put in the
My
entire
source,
statement he made.
I wasn't in federal office in 2019. I was not a part of this committee. I was a state house rep from Goose Creek, South Carolina, and I'm quoting open sources that I have. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not rich with a bunch of attorneys, okay? I'm doing the best that I can to get the information that I can, and I'm asking if the president was telling a lie. When he stated to the public he'd only met with Jeffrey Epstein on 2 occasions.
He didn't
not
say
that
to the
only
public,
in
you're
the statement,
misrepresenting.
Congresswoman Mays. Let me be clear. Not asking about your right to ask him any question, but don't do it on the basis of a news article. The news article is quoting his statement.
So is the news
It's
article
quoting-
lying? Is the news
It's not
article
lying.
false?
It's false. Take it to mean what you say, which the statement did not do.
Do you understand English?
I
Seriously.
think I do.
I
I'm not from
think you
South
do.
Carolina, but I think I do.
Did you make a statement, Mr. President, in 2019 that you only met with Jeffrey Epstein twice? I'm asking a question a different way.
I have no idea, but I think that when I answer that, I don't believe I remembered anything about meeting him in 1995.
So when making a statement about Jeffrey Epstein in 2019, would you have checked with your staff on maybe White House logs about the 17 times he visited, dinners you had with him, fundraising that you did with him, fundraising dinners he was on, you were on his flights 26 times. Would you have checked with your staff before making such a statement, or would you just...
Congressman Mace, what statement are you talking about? Are you talking about the entire statement that he made in 2019?
Ms. Mace, can I just ask you for the Ms. Mace, can I ask you for the record? Ms. Mace, can I ask you for the record? Can you read the article into the record, please?
I'm not going to read the article into the record.
Well, Ms. Mace, you are indicating that this article misrepresents a piece. Could you read the article into the record?
An article into the record. I'm not going to do that. You've not
This is
done
the
that
basis
yet.
on which you rely.
You're not in charge of me. I am quoting from
I'm not
this
seeking to be in
article.
charge of you. Believe me, that is something I would not at all
Don't even try.
seek to be. So I want to be respectful. But I am asking, if you're asking him to speak to this, can you please put the entire article in the record?
The entire article is in the record as an exhibit. What exhibit number is this? 22.
And yet,
Counselor,
It's already in the
question has
record,
been
Counselor.
clarified to reflect only the small portion of the larger statement, to whatever extent the witness is able to answer to his recollection of that portion of the statement and any preparation that occurred to make that statement.
so in other words, what you have just articulated, that the question's been clarified by Ms. Mace or by you, that what is intended is to actually only be speaking to the selected piece out of the entire statement that was released by the President's office. Is that what you're clarifying?
That's what I'm focused on, yes.
Okay. So if you read this, you really want to know is if I was at a dinner
No, I don't. My question was
that
about
Ron
your statement.
Perlman
No, sir.
gave.
No, sir. I'm not asking about that dinner. I'm asking about the statement at the beginning of the article. I would like to ask another question. Your statement in 2019 about only meeting with Jeffrey Epstein on 2 occasions briefly.
That is not
was
a correct. I'm going to object to that characterization.
I believe-
That is not what the statement says.
Okay, so the third
You're reading the Daily
paragraph
Beast
down,
article.
which your leftist rag, by the way. And on the third paragraph down, it says, in his Monday statement, Clinton said he had only, quote, one meeting with Epstein in his Harlem office in 2002, and around the same time made one brief visit to Epstein's New York apartment with a staff member and his security detail. Those are the two
That is in
separate
addition to this.
references.
So the Daily Beast, Bill Clinton failed to mention his intimate dinner, 1995 dinner with Epstein. That's by Pilar Melendez on the 11th of July, 2019.
All right, Mr. President, your statement saying you only met with Epstein briefly twice. Was that part of an effort to cover up the close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
Object
correct?
to the form of the question. It misstates the record.
She's asking if you were trying to mislead the public.
Oh, no,
Okay. How many times did Ghislaine Maxwell visit your home in Chappaqua?
I have no idea.
Who invited her?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how she may have been.
Mr. President, that's it.
Okay.
Hillary had political events there.
Okay. So is it in your is it to your knowledge? Was she at your home in Chappaqua likely because your wife had her over for Senate events? That's what you testified earlier today, correct?
That's not what he testified, but please ask the
I would
question
like
as
you
to
to
what he would
clarify.
actually. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do not know, but if you are implying the reverse, I will volunteer something. She was never at my house in Chappaqua for any personal reasons.
I didn't say anything for anything.
No, you
personal.
didn't, but you had a great tone in your voice, and you're very good at it.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a
said that.
compliment.
Thank you. And I did not go to Yale Law School or any law school for that matter. So yesterday, your wife testified that Ghislaine Maxwell was never at her home, and I believe you stated earlier today you thought if she was over there, it would be for Senate events. So was your wife falsely testifying yesterday?
Mischaracterizes.
So he doesn't have the benefit of his wife's testimony yesterday. So unless you all are going to provide the transcript, or you're going to actually provide that information, he's not in a position where he could address
I
it.
believe all I said was that I didn't know.
Okay.
That she had done.
You said you postured that maybe it was for her Senate. I'm going to have one last question, Mr. Chairman, and then you'll take over. I believe you stated today on around. I know it's been a number of years. On around 2008, you ended or before that ended your any communication with Jeffrey Epstein. Correct? Around the time he got arrested or right beforehand. And he was arrested for child sexual prostitution or hiring girls for sex or one girl for sex. Correct? Roughly. Child sexual exploitation. If you were aware in 2008 that Jeffrey Epstein was having sex with kids, and you knew of his close association with Ghislaine Maxwell, why would you still associate with Ghislaine Maxwell, who you dubbed essentially like your Doug Band? She was the body man to Epstein, Doug Band was the body man to you, and why would you allow Ghislaine Maxwell to associate with your daughter up until, 2004, 2015?
Welcome to Sunday at Full Throttle.
On September 4th, 2024, Gray's son Colt is alleged to have opened fire in the school, killing 2 students and 2 teachers.
Cameras caught Colt Gray in class, fidgeting, texting, then eventually walking into a bathroom with his backpack, where he contacted his mother, who then called the school. A short while later, resource officers go into the bathroom and take out a different student with a similar name. Colt follows afterwards wearing yellow gloves, carrying the bag with a poster board concealing an AR-15 style rifle. The final image allowed to be shown by the court's pool camera. Colt peering into a classroom holding the firearm. Today, as prosecutors began their replay of the actual shooting, the pool camera shifted to Colt's father, Colin, who immediately broke down in tears. Over the last 9 days, jurors have heard witness testimony from Colin's estranged wife and daughter, first responders, as well as students and staff who were impacted both physically and emotionally.
After I got shot, I turned to my friend Landon and I asked him to hold my hand because I was scared.
The defense plans to call one witness to the stand tomorrow, Colin Gray. His son Colt is awaiting trial and has pleaded not guilty. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Atlanta.
Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Would you state your name for us, please?
Colin Gray.
And would you spell it for the court report?
COLINGRA.
There's always somebody walking around the earth that
meet with council in chambers and then discuss scheduling, presenting, if that works. We'll go from there. And
there's always somebody walking around the earth.